Remind me not to drink my 5-hour energy drink just before the microphone comes on. That stuff, it says it's grape flavored, but
yeah, the flavored in quotations
yeah.
is important. Yeah.
All right, that's rough stuff, but I need it today. Let's get after it. We got a lot of stuff to cover.
I wish we would have had the cameras already rolling when you
yes.
right before you opened it. You missed this, Mac. He opens it like it's a hand grenade.
Yeah.
He sticks it in his mouth and rips the top
pin
off.
out of my teeth and then slamming it down. That is nasty stuff. But a lot of people say, well, that's not good for you. Really, all it is it's there's no sugar in it, and it's got vitamin B12 and a little caffeine, and it's really
little caffeine.
Well, okay,
it might be a lot of caffeine.
Well, I'll need it because it's Friday, and we're glad that you're with us here on the drive. It's a 3:07, the 15th day of September, payday for some people. Yeah. And we're glad that you're along. I want to start off today by saying congratulations to Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell. He, once again, Nashvillians have done their job. Let me say congratulations to you as well, because you have once again provided me what I care about most, and that's a mayor who is easy to mock. And so I don't have Freddie O'Connell's nickname, just yet. Megan Barry never, when I first came to town, I was here about 3 days when that whole thing unfolded with Megan Barry, and I never really got a chance to give her a nickname, but we had plenty of fun telling that story, no doubt. That was, boy, I'm telling you, those when you're in radio, that's like a gift to the radio gods, what happened there. And then she was followed by Mayor David Briley, who we called Mayor Cellophane, because he was, you look right through him and it's like nobody's there. He was the singularly most dull individual to ever enter the world of politics in my mind. So we had a lot of fun with that. Followed by, John Cooper. We called him Mini Cooper. We called him, Mayor Munchkin. And then we got told we couldn't do that anymore. So he became the mayor formerly known as Mayor Munchkin. And he had the eyebrows of an Oompa Loompa and about the same stature. And so, there was all kinds of fun to have with that. And not only was he a small man, he was a small thinker in my estimation. And so, he's got a few more days, and we're gonna ease up on Mayor Cooper, because we've got to get ready for Freddie O'Connell. And like I said, I don't have a nickname for him, but just look at the guy. This is a guy who will reveal his nickname in time. And I'm not at all worried about it. I'll come up with something, but nothing has inspired me as yet. I thought about Mr. Peabody, because he sort of, has those big glasses, but then I thought, really, no, Peabody was the dog. He looks more like Sherman, and that is a reference probably lost on so many people. But nonetheless, that's not it. I promise you. I'm going to be good to my word on this. We will find the name. But in the meantime, you're supposed to give a mayor or a new elected official a honeymoon period. So, Freddie O'Connell, congratulations on your victory, and consider this your honeymoon. As far at least I'm concerned. Okay, but Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell, here's a memo. I'll be watching very closely. It's just a matter of time. We'll find the nickname. The election results, pretty predictable. In Davidson County, roughly 2-1. Not exactly, but roughly 2-1. Alice Rowley, great campaign. But, it's a heavy lift in Davidson County. It always is. I appreciate the people who will, from the Republican side of the equation, who will actually, get out there and fight the good fight. So congratulations to you, Alice Rowley. But again, a heavy lift. Listen, if you would allow me, seriously for a moment, because I haven't been too serious up till now. Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell, let me just tell you what I think a lot of people hope that you will do. Number one, you were in favor of the 34% tax increase. This is the thing that amazes me about voters in Metro Nashville, Davidson County. You all complained bitterly about the 34% tax increase. You thought it was outrageous, and I agree. It was really not the right thing to do at the time. And yet Freddie O'Connell was in favor of it. So if you hated the 34% tax increase, then why did you reelect someone who was in favor of it, someone who identifies himself as a very progressive candidate? He presented himself, quote unquote, from the Tennessean, as an average Nashvilleian and the only truly progressive candidate, pledging to restore fundamental Nashville services, advance a workable public transit plan, and invest in education and affordable housing. Here's what I think you need to do. Number one, I think you need to keep trimming. A lot of the budget problems have been solved because, you're hitting people for a big tax hike. That 34% tax hike generated a lot of revenue. And so, you are actually taking the reins of a city that at least finances are not in the hole. But I think there are many people out there who would really appreciate it if you could somehow find a way to not spend as much money. That's one thing. I think, Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell, that you should take some time to look critically at this town. And as much as I love Nashville, I was downtown yesterday. Again, I don't live downtown. I live in bucolic, beautiful Watertown, Tennessee. But I go down there. I was down there yesterday, and it's a place where we work and play. And I looked around, and the town is filthy. It's just dirty. Can we just clean up the trash? I mean, all it takes, Mayor O'Connell, is a truck and some elbow grease. Start going around the city and just start working, here and there. Now, part of that problem is a lot of the trash is generated by a homeless population, and I think you've got to deal with that as well. Basic services. Let's understand, Mr. Mayor, that if you really want to be popular with the people of Nashville, you make sure that the basics are covered. I mean, that means that you pick up the trash. You make sure the potholes get filled. That's it seems like a silly thing, but it really is not a silly thing. And you need to understand that the number one job of a city government is public safety. Now, what does that mean? It means that you need to pay some attention to your police department. They're understaffed. And I think maybe that's by design. I think that they're understaffed on purpose, my personal feeling, because you can't say that you want to cut police, but if you don't fill the empty positions, you have the same effect. You cut back on the police force. I talk to law enforcement officers in Nashville on a regular basis. Many of them, they have my number. They text back and forth. They tell me what's going on in the community, and I value that. And what I would say to you is they're not feeling much love right now. And you need to really make sure that you support your police department, you support your police officers, you make fighting crime a major proponent, a part of what you want to do, a major part of your platform, if you will. I mean, get after that. If you really want to, endear yourself to all of the voters in Metro Nashville, Davidson County. Reach out to law enforcement. Make sure they have the resources they need. Make sure they're doing everything they can to fill all the empty vacancies and actually work with them hand in hand to bring crime under control. We had a story the other day, Mr. Mayor, that you may have missed, that Nashville, Tennessee, Davidson County, number 2 in the country for fentanyl death overdoses, and we need to do better there. There's only one city per capita, when you look at it from a per capita status standpoint, there's only one city in America that had a worse fentanyl death problem than Nashville, and it was godforsaken Baltimore. Baltimore, Maryland. It's Baltimore, Maryland, and right behind Baltimore, Maryland, number 2 is good old Nashville, Tennessee. Why is that? Well, part of it is because your president is got an open border and et cetera. But one thing or another, we really need to work on that. That's a real problem. But focus on the basic services that make a good city, and you'll go a long way toward endearing yourself to the people of Nashville. I mean, I'm sure you've got all these goody, feel-good, progressive ideas, and you know what? Just stop for a moment. Stop for a moment before you go into it and start doing all of the stuff that, that the liberals like to do. And just for a moment, focus on the basics that a city is supposed to provide for the people who live there. All right? Make sure that your public safety is in order. Make sure that you're picking up the trash. Make the city a cleaner place, could you please? And do something about the homeless problem and seriously address that. That you will go a long way to making Nashville a better place and a more livable city. So I beg you, resist the temptation to go after all the goody pie in the sky BS that the Democrats always go after, and actually focus on making it an efficiently and effectively run city. Mr. Mayor, if I could. Mr. Mayor-elect, if I could. All right, enough of that. So, other news. We have our first transgender official elected in Tennessee. She is Olivia Hill. She secured an at-large Metro Council seat in the Davidson County runoff. The Nashville native is a Metro Public School alum, a Navy veteran, and according to the LBGTQ Victory Fund, she was chosen as the LGBTQ Advocate of the Year for her dedicated service to community. She won a runoff. Born and raised in Nashville, a product of Metro Public Schools, a Navy veteran. She served in Desert Storm. I don't know under which gender. It's not clear by reading the press release. But so there is that. Women, there are more women on the Nashville Council now than there are men. Women capture all 5 at-large Nashville Council seats and put Tennessee on notice. Women they captured all 5. The victors reflect the inclusive, progressive nature of Nashville at a time of pushback from the Tennessee General Assembly. And so, again, congratulations to the winners. Thank you to those who did not win, but we thank you for playing and getting out there and trying. I think it was a good thing for you to do. So, we are going to be watching. I mean, I hope the best, but I will be watching, and from my perch here, from the limited perch and the influence that I have, I'll be making sure that you're held accountable for the decisions that you make. At least I'm going to try. In a moment, 2024, there are some new things for you to know, and we'll get to them, but right now it's 20 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. If you're in the market for a pole barn, the 2 brothers that run Stoltz Co. are the 2 guys that you probably need to talk to. Exceptional quality, craftsmanship, fair prices. They can build your new pole barn to your specifications, your needs in mind, and that's the Stoltz Co. different. They will customize it for you. You can use pole barns for all kinds of things, function as a classic tool or a work barn, a garage, or even a place to live. Flexibility is key. They combine the classic post-frame barn look with the reliability of modern materials and techniques to give you a finished barn that will stand the test of time. They do not scrimp on quality. They do not cut corners. They believe their customers deserve only the best. And you should go to their website. It's stoltzco.com, stoltzco.com. And you will see some examples of some of the things they're done. And you're going to realize very quickly, this ain't your grandpappy's pole barn. This is something new. This is something different. Then give them a call, 615-622-5992. Stoltzco, where quality workmanship and great customer service is affordable, 615-622-5992, or learn more by going to their website, stoltzco.com. That's stoltzco.com.
Historic United Auto Workers strike, tourism revenue in Davidson County, and Italy dealing with immigration issues, just like here. We'll fill you in at 3:30. I'm Mac Morey here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
24 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. We're off to a rollicking good start for a Friday afternoon. Beautiful day outside. I mean, it is nice to be outside. I mean, cool last night. I guess, it sort of feels like maybe we're into the beginning of fall. I know it's not officially fall yet, but
I hesitate to I want to say yes, it is, but I'm afraid that that's just going to bring summertime back, and I don't want to do that.
I'll tell you, I had to turn the heater back on the pool, so to me, that's the first day of fall. Yeah,
nice.
I mean, I'm not getting into cold water. Come on,
you're a sophisticated man.
That's right. Let's do a 2024 update. I just was struck by something today that I've never seen this in the world of politics. As long as I've been covering politics, and I've been covering politics a long time, I haven't seen anything that quite matches this. I'm looking at Real Clear Politics and the 2024 Republican presidential nominee polls that are out there. Fox News has got a new poll out today, and let me just sort of go through this. I'm going to give you the last few polls. The last 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go 4. Yeah, let's go 4. 4 polls. There's a messenger poll that has Trump leading his nearest competitor, DeSantis, by 48 points. There's a Q poll that has Trump leading DeSantis by 50 points. There's a Harvard-Harris poll that has Trump leading by 47 points. And then the Fox News poll, which came out today, it's Trump with 60, DeSantis 13, Ramaswamy 11, Haley 5, Pence 3, Christie 2, Tim Scott has 3, and the rest don't even register. But Trump leads his nearest competitor, DeSantis, in the Fox News poll by 47 points. So 48, 50, 47, 47. Those are all, pretty close. All those polls are showing roughly the same thing. And those numbers are, of course, you would think with the margin of error, they're probably all pretty much showing that Republicans have made up their mind in a very big way that they want to renominate Donald Trump. And I think I don't see any way. I mean, I don't know why we bother at this point unless there were to be something on the horizon that changes the way Republicans feel about Donald Trump. And I don't know how that could be, because everything they throw at him, you give it a couple, 2 or 3 days, and his numbers will go up again. I mean, Republicans are absolutely, it seems, in lockstep, or the vast majority of them in lockstep, that they want to see Donald Trump renominated, and I don't see things likely to change that. And here is even more information that you will like if you are a supporter of the former president. This from the Daily Caller. And I had not thought to look at it this way, but man, this is eye-opening. And by the way, the information I'm about to give you, great news for Donald Trump, disastrous news for the Democrats. You ready? Former President Donald Trump appears to have an advantage against President Joe Biden in 2024 among key battleground states in the 2020 election, according to a Friday poll. The states that had the narrowest margin of victory for either candidate last cycle were, in alphabetical order, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And in the last election cycle, Biden won all but North Carolina. But now, across those key swing states, Trump is ahead of Biden, 41-35. Still, 24% of voters say they remain undecided, but a very healthy lead, a 6-point lead. Biden is being beaten by Trump by 6 points on average in these very, 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 very important battleground states. And even among independent voters, I always tell you about how important independent voters are if you want to win a national election. Independent voters, the former president also held a slight advantage over Biden. According to the poll, Trump received 32% support among independents, Biden 30%, but yet the large majority, 38%, say they are still undecided. Uncertain voters favored Biden over Trump. But that's just people who generally don't care too much about politics, it would seem to me. More think that Trump has mental soundness than Biden, and that's very clear. 61% say Joe Biden doesn't have the mental soundness needed for the job he holds. That sentiment has risen steadily over the last 3 years, up 5 points since last year, up 13 points compared to 2021, up 16 points since he was elected. And they've got all kinds of numbers here that talk about, if you look at Donald Trump, people think he has a much better mental acuity than the current president of the United States. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, all those numbers look really good. And Trump, I mean, if you're Trump right now, he's not doing a lot. I mean, he's not getting, it's still very early, and he's not getting out there in a big way. But by avoiding the debates, it seems to me, and being a bit more low key, his numbers just go up and up and up and up. Then that brings us to a close on our 2024 update for this Friday, September 15th. It's now 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7.
"30 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Currently 85 degrees, a sunny day on Music Row. The chance for some clouds and showers tomorrow and lightly on Sunday. Nothing severe, though. Traffic weekend weather forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Members of United Auto Workers are walking the picket lines in a historic strike against 3 major automakers. Jill Enders has coverage from the GM plant in Wentzville, Missouri.
This work stoppage at the General Motors plant in Wentzville, Missouri impacts 4,100 workers. Glenn Coggy, the legislative chair for UAW Local 2250, says employees are standing strong.
They're very confident that we're going to do our job and we're going to hold the line so that the negotiators in Detroit know that they have the strength and solidarity of the union behind them.
Pay and better working conditions are among the issues surrounding this labor dispute.
Tourism in Nashville, Channel 4 says, based on a report from the economic impact of travel, that a record $9.97 billion was generated from tourism in Davidson County last year. And the report states that that's a 35% increase from 2021. They estimate $27 million a day are spent in Nashville, and they say over $1 billion came from state and local tax revenue. And overseas in Italy, they're working to relocate the thousands of migrants in Estella Catera.
Close to 7,000 migrants arriving to the small Italian island of Lampedusa in 48 hours. The island has a population of just 6,000. The United Nations Refugee Agency now saying it's crucial that the migrants be relocated because of the island's limited resources. Officials have already set up transfers to the larger island of Sicily. Experts are also calling on other European countries to step in and help settle those who will be recognized as refugees.
And that is the latest news. Weather and traffic next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
You got a problem with the foundation issues on your house, you see the cracking bricks or something like that, or maybe you have a waterproofing issue. I want to tell you about the one company you should call, USS, United Structural Systems. Over 25,000 satisfied residential customers. And here's how they made this happen. They will come out to your house and they will take a look at what's going on. Maybe it's your place of business. They'll take a look at what's going on and they'll say, okay, we have a solution for that. And here's what it is. Now, they're not going to pressure you and they're not going to try to sell you something you don't need. They're just out to fix your problem. And if you like what they brought you, and I think you will because these guys are really good at what they do, then you simply, give them the approval and they get started. You don't owe a penny until the job is done and you are completely satisfied. Now, you take my word for it. They have a great reputation. But here's what Jerry said. This is the best crew we ever had do work on our house. The best I have ever seen. Very professional, and they did an excellent job. USS, they guarantee their best, serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, Northern Alabama, online at USSTN.com, or call this number, 615-488-7855. It is 38 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair and on the air, and bringing you all kinds of news and information as you just try to get home on your Friday. I don't know, I was just looking. Are we supposed to have rain tomorrow?
There's a chance of some scattered rain.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, good. I'm headed out tomorrow to the Rose family farm fish fry. Hard to say.
Wow.
The Rose family farm fish fry tomorrow.
That sounds fun.
Up in Carthage, South Carthage, at the Ag Center there. And going to hang out and eat some fish.
Nice.
I will wear a shirt that has a fish on it, which I think is appropriate for that.
You wearing one today?
I am. Well, this is marlin. You can't eat this fish.
That's the type you hang
they're
up on the
a
wall.
sport fish,
right? Yeah.
nice hang on the wall.
So you'll wear an edible fish tomorrow.
I'll wear some kind of edible fish tomorrow. Maybe a nice perch or a bass. Catfish.
You got a
I don't know.
catfish shirt?
Ooh.
Have you got?
I don't have a catfish shirt. No,
Okay.
I don't. But anyway, looking forward to catching up with some good conservatives and eating some good fried fish.
Have a hush puppy for me.
A hush puppy. Gosh, that sounds good.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's going on tomorrow. But I'm hoping that I can get some yard work done. It's yard work's getting away from me this time of year. I'm way behind. It bothers me. Growing number of people on the U.S. terrorist watch list encountered at the border. Well, okay. This is what I've been talking about. Now, they talk here about 2023. And, 2023, of course, is not over yet, and we're only in September, but I think they're talking about fiscal year 2023. That's how the government looks at things. Growing number of people in the U.S. terrorist watch list were encountered at the U.S. border in 2023, Homeland Security officials said on Thursday, noting in an annual report that a record number of migrant arrivals had, quote unquote, do you think, complicated border and immigration security. Man, how about that? What an admission, huh? Do you think? I was watching this morning on Fox News, and that really nice, he's a good reporter too, Bill Malusian, was down on the border. And we're not talking about the border as a nationwide issue every day. I mean, we do, but nobody else does. And it is worse than it's ever been. They've got people in cages because they're overflowing and they got no place to put them. And so because it's reaching crisis proportions, they are just putting people on buses and shipping them into America, just mass releases. I don't know that these people are being vetted at all. I think that they're just so overwhelmed, they're just trying to get them out of the way because they keep coming. They keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming. 7,000 a day. 7,000 a day. Add that up. You can see it adds up pretty quickly. But anyway, a fair number of them were on the terrorist watch list. In fact, we had a call the other day. I was on the text line, and I've been meaning to follow up on this, and I haven't. And it's my fault. I should. In Lebanon, at the courthouse in Lebanon, they had a guy, we were told, of Russian extraction, who was on the terrorist watch list, who was being processed or somehow charged with a crime, being, he was being arraigned, and they were trying to figure out, what to do with him. But you think it doesn't happen? Folks on the terrorist watch list end up right here in our own backyard. Approximately 160 non-U.S. citizens on the watch list attempted to cross into the United States in fiscal year 2023. Most of whom were encountered attempting to illegally enter between ports of entry. All right, so these are the unlucky terrorist watch list folks that are getting caught, but most of them are not getting caught because this is what happens. I've told you the story before. They come across the river early in the morning and they want to be put in contact with the folks at the Border Patrol. They want to be put in contact with the folks from ICE because they want to get processed. Bill Malusian had a soundbite. You could hear these these migrants walking up to the Border Patrol agents who are being mass released because they're overloaded. And the guy was saying, am I free to go? So you're absolutely free to go. I can go to Chicago? You can absolutely go to Chicago. You are free. Take off. Unbelievable. But then what happens is, after the folks who are trying to come in contact, the folks who don't want to come in contact come in a little bit later because they know the Border Patrol is overwhelmed just handling paper and shuffling people and being a babysitter instead of actually enforcing our border laws. And so they come across and they run from the police. They don't want to come in contact with police. So when you say that most of these are encountered attempting to illegally enter between the ports of entry, out of the 1.7 million gotaways, we have no idea how many of those people were on the terrorist watch list. Be afraid, America. Be afraid. We have so many people here who do not have our best interest at stake that there is no telling how many there are. We don't have a number on that. But 160 rather, is up from 100 on the watch list that came in 2022. This is very troubling. This is very troubling. Not all of these people are upright citizens. An illegal immigrant, according to the Blaze, arrested in connection with a stabbing, released from custody after paperwork went unfiled. He then allegedly committed a murder. Carlos Corrales Ramirez, 20 years old, of Honduras. They arrested him for not having documentation. Then they found out that he was wanted in connection with a stabbing in Maryland. And then police in Laurel, Maryland told WTEN that Corrales Ramirez later was released from custody because of the state of Maryland failed to obtain a governor warrant to extradite him. And a few months later, they say that Corrales Ramirez fatally stabbed a 20-year-old Jairo Jesus Hernandez. I mean, it's impossible to keep up with all of this. The United Nations, according to Sarah Carter, I love Sarah Carter, United Nations declares that U.S.-Mexico border is the deadliest migrant land route in the world. Unbelievable. The most dangerous, deadliest migrant land route in the world. I mean, you think that, by opening up the borders, the Democrats think they're being humanitarian. What they are doing is they're putting a lot of people at risk, and people die, either at the hands of the coyotes, or they die at the hands of the cartel, or they die because it's 117 degrees in the Chihuahuan desert. That's not humanitarian. That's putting people at lives at risk. Here's the story. Migrants released into streets in Arizona as facilities are overwhelmed. U.S. Customs and Border Protection releasing illegal aliens into the streets in Cochise County, Arizona, due to its processing and holding facilities being overwhelmed by the surge of migrants that Joe Biden is allowing to cross the Mexican border. Today's announcement that CBP will begin migrant street releases into Cochise County, just another reflection of the fracture within the Department of Homeland Security infrastructure regarding the security of our southern border, complained Cochise County Sheriff Mark Daniels in a social media post warning residents of the release. These releases are a direct result of overcapacity at CBP, which is forcing these migrant releases into our community. Within hours of this post, Sheriff Daniels reported 2 separate smuggler interdictions, catching one transporting a group of 5 migrants, including a 12-year-old boy, another including transporting 12 migrants. CBP, Homeland Security say, the border's secure. It's absolutely secure. There's nothing to worry about. Looking at the big picture nationwide, the immigrant population in the U.S., according to the Daily Wire, hit a record high last year as the number of both legal and illegal immigrants ramped up. The number of residents born in another country rose by close to 1 million last year, reaching a record 46.2 million people. Immigrants are now really nearly 14% of the U.S. population, according to census data. One driver of the increase is more legal immigration through visas and taking in refugees, much of which was put on hold during the pandemic. The Biden administration has accepted tens of thousands of refugees from Afghanistan, where the Taliban regained control in 2021, and Ukraine, which is at war with Russia. At the same time, the administration has struggled to address millions of illegal migrants flooding over the nation's southern border over the last year. The U.S. is seeing an increase of people coming from particular countries south of the border: Venezuela, Brazil, Colombia, Honduras. The largest immigrant population came from Mexico, almost 11 million immigrants, but the number of Mexican immigrants is decreasing, and the number of El Salvadoran immigrants coming has remained about the same for 5 years. The U.S. is seeing significant growth of immigrants from Africa and Asia, including China, as well as a large increase in Afghan immigrants. Some states have seen more immigrants settle in with their borders than others. Florida took in 200,000 migrants and immigrants last year, the biggest increase by far of any state. Other states experiencing significant increases were Georgia, Maryland, New Jersey, Iowa. And as you know, many major cities, especially those that are dominated by blue politics, are finding themselves struggling to keep up with the influx of migrants that are making their way to places like New York and Chicago and L.A. and San Francisco. Simply out of control. Simply out of control. We have lost control of our immigration system. We have lost control of our borders. And we're going to regret the day that we allowed this to happen. 50 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. There are a lot of diagnoses out there. There's a pill for everything, but not all diagnoses are accurate, and not all pills are good for you. When you get a diagnosis for European auto repair, get a second opinion before you make a major decision. And just so you know, Eurofix is the home of second opinions. Before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle repair for a diagnosis, you go to Eurofix and find how much you might save. It can not only save your vehicle's life, could save you from a lot of stress that ruins your weekend. Life's too short to get stressed out and angry. Be happy and go to Eurofix. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. No high-pressure sales tactics. At Eurofix, you'll get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. At Eurofix, you never pay dealer prices. Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now their latest and brand-new facility, beautiful facility in Mount Juliet. Call 844-EUROFIX or visit myEurofix.com and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. I've been teaching investing on Nashville airwaves for over 20 years with the Investor Coaching Show. And in that time, I taught a lot about how markets work and how we invest money and academic principles of investing money. But I've also talked an awful lot about how to avoid the mistakes that people often make with their money. Think about it. A lot of people sold out of the market at the worst time when COVID struck, or when TARP happened, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or gold, they invested in that at the worst time. Bailing out of the market because they were worried about Y2K or 9/11 or jumping into energy stocks or jumping into cryptocurrency. One of the things that I like to do is educate investors, because I believe that the more educated you are, the more confident you are, and the more confident you are, the more successful you can be as an investor. Now, I not only do that on our radio show, but we do that in our offices around the Nashville region, 10 offices. To learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call. Or you can call 615-851-1950.
The UAW strike is on. Sexual assault in Tennessee, an alleged sexual assault. More aid for Ukraine being discussed, and Drew Barrymore makes what she felt was a hard decision amid a Hollywood strike. Those stories and more coming up at 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, let's look at what's going on economically. Oil is up. West Texas Intermediate is at $91 a barrel. Wow. Brent crude, 94. That means gas prices will be going up soon. Looking at the markets, what the markets giveth, they taketh away. Dow Jones Industrials down 288 points. The S&P ended the day 54 down. NASDAQ down 217 points. Join us with a look forward of what we can expect next week is John Maxson from Beacon Capital Management. Hello, John.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, you're right. It's a rough day, kind of the reverse of yesterday. Inflation fears weighed heavy on the market, and crude oil now $91 plus a barrel. That's a huge increase. That's going to make it hard on this fight for inflation for the Fed. But as we wrap up this week, the market's going to start to turn its attention to the Fed meeting next week, and it's a really big meeting. And I'll tell you, there's several things that I think that are going to be important to look for. One of them is going to be, will the Fed raise rates again, or are they going to pause in September? I'm not so sure we know the answer to that. We'll find out next week. And then how many Fed officials think rates have peaked? There was only 6 of 18 in June. And then another thing I would look for is if the Fed's not done raising rates, are they going to project how many more increases we're going to have? So a lot of information around the Fed next week.
All right, John, thank you very much. Learn more about what they can do for you over at Beacon Capital Management by going to their website, askbeaconnow.com. It's 58 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Hey, if you have a desire to add some gold or silver to your portfolio, listen, you might want to think about checking in with the folks at Nashville Gold and Coin. If you're looking to buy real, actual, hold it in your hand gold, silver, or bullion, let me tell you, this is the place I do business. It's a place I recommend. You'll get honest, friendly customer service and real precious metal education. And they also specialize in buying, selling, and appraising of coins. Do you have any idea how much those old coins you have laying around might be worth? I brought in a few silver coins that I had in a shoebox in my sock drawer. Forgot it was there for years. It turned out to be worth $1,652. So whether you're in the market to purchase precious metals or just want to find out what those coins in your closet might be worth, schedule a one-on-one consultation today. Go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
Four o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 85 degrees in Nashville. The rest of the day going to stay clear and sunny skies. And then tomorrow, a chance of showers. But the rest of the weekend should be clear. No severe weather expected. Complete weather and traffic report in 5 minutes. It's day one of UAW's historic strike against 3 major automakers. Jill Enders has coverage from the GM plant in Wentzville, Missouri.
Workers with General Motors in Wentzville, Missouri were among the first to hit the picket lines. Glenn Coggy, legislative chair for UAW Local 2250, says this work stoppage is about more than the current labor dispute.
It's to honor the generation that came before us, to represent our brothers and sisters that are holding the line right now, but it's also about the generation that's coming behind us.
This is the first time UAW went on strike against 3 major automakers simultaneously in its 88-year history.
And got some crime in Tennessee. Channel 4 says that a man allegedly attacked a woman and her children in the Rolling Hills apartment in West Nashville last Sunday, September 10th. Officers claim they found 37-year-old Jose Maria Estrada with his shirt off and in a, quote, unusual state. The mother alleges that Estrada ran towards her and her kids, and he began to grope her all over while pushing the children away. Estrada's story is that he was being followed by another man and simply grabbed the woman's hand for help. He now remains in custody on hold for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And in the nation's capital, White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan at the White House press briefing today discussing President Biden's planned meeting next week with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and detailing his meetings on the Hill to secure more aid for Ukraine.
In those conversations, I felt the basic vibe, so to speak, the idea that the United States needs to come together on a bipartisan basis to support Ukraine felt as strong as it did a year ago on both sides of the aisle. But of course, I acknowledge that there's a difference between this Congress and the last Congress, and we'll have to contend with that.
Right now, back in the Volunteer State, a missing 61-year-old man has been found dead in the West Fork area of Percy Priest Lake. Officials found an unmanned boat, later discovered the body. He was not wearing a life jacket, and that makes 23 boating fatalities just this year in Tennessee. In some entertainment news, Drew Barrymore gives a tearful apology for her decision to restart her talk show amidst the Hollywood strikes. Jason Nathanson.
Drew Barrymore has drawn a lot of fire this week as she resumed filming her talk show, which is a WGA union show. She was picketed by her own writers, and in a video posted on Instagram Friday, she apologized.
I deeply apologize to writers. I deeply apologize to unions.
Apologized but didn't back down, restating why she went back.
This is bigger than me, and there are other people's jobs on the line.
She again said she wouldn't be breaking any strike rules, though the WGA has said it doesn't believe that's possible. Bill Maher and others also announced this week they'd be getting back to work as well.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. 7 minutes now past the hour. We're into hour number 2 of the drive. On Friday, or we like to call it Friday, I want you to remember that on Friday, we do a thing at about 4:35 and about 5:35 where you get to sound off. We call it Phone Your Farb Friday. So get your best ideas together. And we'll do that at the bottom of the hour after the news with Mac Morey at 4:30 and 5:30. So, we love this because, most of the time when I open up the phone lines, I'm directing the topic. It's like we have a topic and I want you to comment on this topic. And it's all great because it really helps us focus on what you think about certain things. And then we lose out, though, on just giving you the opportunity to say what's on your mind. So that's why we do the thing on Friday, and we count on you to be participants in this social interactive medium that we call talk radio. So get ready for that, again, at 4:35 and 5:35 today. I'd like to start by talking about some economic news. This is all over the place, but a lot of this is local. And I was really very taken by this story, Channel 4's website. And they're looking at the economic impact of tourism on Tennessee in the year 2022. I guess this is the latest year which all the numbers are available. These economic reports often run about a year behind. Nearly $10 billion generated in Davidson County by tourism. If it were not for state and local taxes generated by tourism, each Nashville household would pay about $3,500 more in state and local taxes. Tourism is so important to what we do, and it pays so much for what goes on. A record $9.97 billion in travel spending was generated by tourism in Davidson County last year. This according to the report that I mentioned, 2022 Economic Impact on Travel in Tennessee report. That's up 35% from 2021 when we were coming out of the pandemic. If it were not for state and local taxes, I mentioned that the report adds that visitors of Nashville and Davidson County spend an average of, are you ready for this? This is an astonishing number. Visitors of Nashville and Davidson County spend an average of $27 million a day. Wow. With nearly $10 billion in visitor spending last year, Nashville leads the way as the highest contributor to tourism spending across Tennessee, accounting for over 1/3 of visitor spending statewide and providing vital revenue to fund essential local and state government operations. This according to the CEO of the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation. Our success is built on Nashville's authenticity, the wealth of our remarkable assets, the power of the Music City brand, and being a welcoming city. That's here's the breakdown on state and local tax revenue. $1 billion goes to state and local tax revenue, $409 million in local taxes. The $409 million is equivalent to the annual operating budgets of the Metro Nashville Police Department and Metro Health Department, and $612 million in state taxes. Tennessee is thriving as tourism continues to soar from our large cities to our small towns. Our industry's hard work is paying off with record levels of visitor spending and significantly outpacing inflation. It's our privilege to showcase these numbers and express our gratitude to our partners, attractions, elected leaders, and visitors who made it a record year. These are great numbers, and we need to understand just how important tourism is to what we do. And as I mentioned in the opening of the show at 3 o'clock, Nashville has a new mayor, Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell. And I would simply say that, let's take care of this. It is incredibly important to our local economy. It funds jobs. We would be a far less vibrant city were it not for what happens on Lower Broadway and all of the attractions that we have here in Davidson County and Nashville. And so we should do everything we can to nurture that. And one of the things that I would suggest, and I said it earlier, is clean up the town. Make it a more desirable place for people to visit. The town, as much as I love Nashville, the town is dirty. It's filthy. We got trash everywhere. Pick up the trash. Make it, an more attractive city. And I think the part of the problem is, quite frankly, the homeless population. Let's do something about the homeless population, and you take care of a great deal of the trash. I just really think you'll find that to be the case. So, Mayor O'Connell, I know you have all your progressive ideas that you'd like to implement in your first 100 days, but just clean. I mean, it doesn't take much. It takes elbow grease and some trucks. So get after cleaning up the town. Really, honestly, we would all consider it a big favor. But again, wow, $10 billion generated in Davidson County by tourism. Disappointed to see this, and it would have an impact on a small part of our economy. Bucky's, everybody wants a Bucky's, right? I mean, apparently it's the hot new thing. And I've got to tell you, I recently went down to the beach and drove down there. Can I stop for a moment and just divert for a moment? The missile was still up. The rocket was still up.
Yeah, I saw this morning. I think they just started taking it apart today.
They just started taking it down. That's a sad moment. Mm-hmm. Sorry to hear that. But I went down there, and of course, about halfway, between here and Birmingham, there's a Bucky's.
Yeah, Athens, I think it is.
Yeah, it's a hopping place. I've stopped there before. What I've come to understand is if you stop for gas or if you stop to use the bathroom at a Bucky's, it's a time suck. You're gonna lose about a half hour to 40 minutes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Which means that you're not going to get to your destination as quickly as you hoped you would. So, we've been trying not to stop at the Bucky's, but I mean, it's a great thing. It's a fabulous thing.
Brisket's pretty dadgone good.
Yeah, and the fudge. I love the fudge. Bucky's plans to build a new location off Interstate 24 have now been withdrawn. The Texas-based gas station convenience store mega thing has notified Clarksville planners of its intent to withdraw the plans to build at the intersection of Trenton and Tylertown roads off Exit 1. The company cited infrastructure concerns. Bucky's is no longer confident in their ability to come to an agreement regarding the necessary traffic improvements in the near future. It said in an excerpt of an email sent to Clarksville planners. Clarksville Montgomery County Planning Commissioner Director Jeff Tyndall said Bucky's hopes to reevaluate and resubmit a plan in the future. It needs significant improvements for the level of traffic that Bucky's generates. Well, you know what? That's the thing that you should, take some of this money, this surplus money we have, and fix that exit so we can generate more income. You're investing, yes, but you're going to get that back just by the business that Bucky's does and the taxes that they pay. This is short-sighted. We can't, we don't have any money to figure out how to do the roads around Exit 1 to handle it. Well, you know what? That's small thinking. Think larger. Governor, don't you have maybe some economic development funds you could throw into this to get this going? I don't think it's lost. What I'm hearing here is that Bucky's is saying, well, we're having a little struggle getting the answers we need. And so, until we can get the answers, we'll give them the answers. Keep the thing alive. I don't understand. That's very small thinking that seems to have, if you're not careful, chase away a really great revenue generator. And besides, I'd like to have a Bucky's that's a little closer. Just saying. So, a missed opportunity if we don't get on this. It is also true that the UAW is going on strike. What does that mean for us here in our area? Well, General Motors has a large facility in Spring Hill that employs about 3,700 people, brings in $323 million in taxable wages. Now, Mac Morey, are you there? Because
Yes,
it's my understanding that that this has not impacted the Spring Hill GM plant as yet.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, apparently they start. The idea was we'll strike closer to home, up up in the upper Midwest, and take out some and stop some plants there. And the strike is underway there, but the UAW is still on the job at the General Motors plant in Spring Hill.
Yeah, and the latest news there is Spring Hill employees basically are reporting on day-to-day at work until they hear otherwise from their union representative.
I wouldn't want to buy a car that came out of the plant on a day when there's a strike pending.
Ooh. Yeah.
Is that wrong of me to say?
That's a valid point.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
If there's a strike, I ask people striking certainly to abide by safety protocols, says the mayor of Spring Hill, as well as the drivers that are driving through the areas need to make sure they are observant, do not, in fact, impede or cause any safety violations. So we'll keep you abreast of all of that. What to know about the strike? The country's largest auto union began a historic strike at midnight on Friday. UAW President Shawn Fain announced the move at a Thursday night press conference. We knew this was going to happen. There are 150,000 workers at General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis plants. Somewhere along the line, I missed this. I didn't know what Stellantis was, but apparently it's the company that took over Chrysler's operation. So a huge number of people are involved in that. Any union of that size announcing a strike news is big news. The last time the UAW went on strike, it was a 6-week stoppage against GM. It cost the auto giant some $3.6 billion, and Michigan, home of many GM workers, experienced a recession during that quarter. So, I mean, it really can have an economic impact. It's such a big thing. The locations, here it is. The locations picked to strike are GM Wentzville Assembly, Stellantis Toledo Assembly Complex, and the Ford Michigan Final Assembly and Paint Plants. The union is asking for a lot, a huge 36% pay bump over the next 4 years. Employees at the three automakers currently earn between $18 and $32 an hour, meaning that such a dramatic would see wages pushed as high as $43 per hour. And there's apparently a big gap between the union's demand and the automakers' offer. The big three have countered with wage increases ranging from 17.5 to 20% over the life of the contract, which ain't bad. So we cross our fingers and hope that this can be resolved, and we deeply hope that that it does not hit us here in Tennessee. But as you heard Mac Morey say, it's a day-to-day call with regard to that. 20 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. Something awesome coming to Genesis Diamonds next weekend. This is the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. It's a 3-day designer engagement ring event showcasing the world's top 2 brands in bridal jewelry, talking about Tacori and Verragio. Tacori's from California, Verragio from New York, both flying in their entire lines, including all new rings for this special event. Now, you can explore hundreds of exquisite American-made designer rings. Plus, Genesis will have special incentives, 0 interest financing, and up to $5,000 in instant saving. In addition, Genesis has an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds for the 3-day event. All shapes, all sizes, rock-bottom prices, the best of the best. Every Tacori ring, handcrafted by master artisans with exceptional quality. Every Verragio ring, made by hand with unmatched attention to detail. These are brands that other jewelers only wish they could offer, but at Genesis, they have the entire Tacori and Verragio collections, and they're all on display next weekend. Don't miss this bridal jewelry event of the year, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
New Mexico governor now under a lot of fire from her recent ban on open and concealed carry in the state of New Mexico. A body found in Percy Priest Lake, plus some money news. That and more. 4:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, I'm sorry, Mac Morey. I am going to talk about the gun thing out of New Mexico before you get to the news, but I'm sure you'll have the latest information. Michelle Lujan Grisham, according to the Washington Examiner, is finding herself, with not many friends right now after this radical gun ban that she suggested. It was a 30-day ban of carrying firearms in public spaces or on state property in Albuquerque and surrounding Bernalillo County. Triggered a predictable backlash from Republican gun rights activists and others. Her unorthodox move raised serious questions from members of her own party. Nobody wanted to back her up. I mean, the AG didn't back her up. Her police chief didn't back her up. Her sheriff didn't back her up. The state patrol didn't back her up. She was out there on her own. Nobody to enforce it because everybody instantly knew what she was doing was unconstitutional, and nobody's going to send their officers out knowingly to violate the Constitution. And then a judge finally, mercifully, came in and said, "No, that's dumb." It was only a 30-day thing. And everybody said, well, by the time you get the courts involved. Well, that turned out to be wrong. I was wrong about that. Courts got involved and said, well, it's a temporary injunction. And so they sort of gave her the same kind of deal. Now, if she wants to challenge the court ruling, it'll all be moot because the 30 days will be over before she ever gets into a federal court. So it's done. It's not a thing. It's not going to happen. She has been put in her place by those who understand the Constitution and there. Look. That's not to say that you don't have a problem there, but it seems to me the problem in Albuquerque, as someone who just visited that city, and I won't bore you with all the details, but I saw it seems like they're having a real problem with crime there. A real honest, nothing enchanting in the land of enchantment when you visit Albuquerque. One thing did happen, a spike in gun sales, an emergency order, this is from Epoch Times, that banned the carrying of firearms in and around Albuquerque appears to have backfired, and some gun stores in the city have reported the prohibition has led to an increase in sales. Today was the busiest day I've had in months, said Arnie Gallegos, owner of Albuquerque Guns in Albuquerque. I've been getting a lot of people who have never come into a gun shop before who are rightly concerned about their freedoms. A lot of people are saying, I can't rely on the police anymore. I need to be able to protect myself. Well, there you go. Walter Bracken, who owns BMC Tactical in Albuquerque, told the Epoch Times that they noticed an uptick in sales at his business. People are upset. There's an attitude that our governor isn't respecting our rights. A clerk at the Albuquerque gun shop, Right to Bear Arms, who asked to remain anonymous out of fear of retribution, said that Ms. Lujan Grisham and overreach by other Democrat leaders have inadvertently been an effective marketing tool for the firearms industry. We've seen a definite jump in traffic because people are nervous, and rightfully so, when they think their right to purchase a gun won't be around in the near future. It's a joke in the gun community that the policies of the left are the greatest salesman of all time for the gun industry. By the way, speaking of this, Hunter Biden, we told you yesterday, could face up to 25 years in prison on the federal gun charges that he is now facing. There were some questions at the White House about that. Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about a pardon again.
When would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Has the president spoken to his son about these matters?
Can you tell us if the president has talked to his son since these charges came down yesterday?
Yeah, there's nothing new here. As I've been asked that question many times, I'm not going to get into private conversations that the president has with his family. I'm just not going to speak to it.
Will those conversations, though, have to change given the heightened scrutiny of these charges?
I'm just not going to get into private conversations that the president has with his family.
She just swats away. She doesn't answer many questions. She really doesn't. I don't know what good she is if you can't answer legitimate questions of the press corps. Biden faces 3 criminal counts, including making a false statement in the purchase of a firearm, carries a maximum of up to 10 years in prison, a $250,000 fine, and 3 years of supervised release. The second count, false statement related to information required to be kept by the federal government's licensed dealer, can garner up to 5 years in prison, a $250,000 fine, and 3 years of supervised release. Third count, possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user of a controlled substance, can land up to a maximum of 10 years. Just that one alone could do 10 years and a $250,000 fine, 3 years of supervised release according to the documents. 4:30 now on Super Talk 99.7.
.430, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 84 degrees right now on Music Row. Expecting similar temperatures over the weekend, but some showers on Saturday. Full weather forecast, latest traffic report on the way in 5 minutes. New Mexico's governor has come under fire in a court order regarding her ban on all open and concealed carry in the state's most populated areas. Now she's modifying that order. Alex Stone.
New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's public health order, which banned all open and concealed carry in Albuquerque, came under fire even from her fellow Democrats who said she cannot pause the Constitution. A court has blocked the rule from taking place, but now the governor is modifying her public health order to ban all guns only in public parks and playgrounds.
Where we know we've got high risk of kids and families.
Among those against the governor's original order, the NRA, which has filed a lawsuit.
Right now in Tennessee, missing 61-year-old man has been discovered in the West Fork area of Percy Priest Lake. He was not wearing a life jacket when he was found. Officials first saw an unmanned boat. They later discovered the body, and that makes 23 boating fatalities this year in Tennessee. Now over to some money news. Daria Albinger walks us through the closing day on Wall Street.
Stocks closed lower to end the week. The Dow gave up 289 points, the Nasdaq fell 218, and the S&P closed down 55. A drop in tech stocks led the slide. The market had been rising steadily this week on some healthy economic reports. Ahead of the Federal Reserve's meeting next week, the central bank is expected to hold interest rates steady. Nearly 1 in 10 of America's unionized auto workers is now on strike at Detroit's big 3 automakers, seeking higher union wages in an era of big profits and as the industry makes the expensive switch from gas-powered to electric vehicles. By walking the picket lines at GM, Ford, and Stellantis, the parent company of Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, the union's hoping to inflict as much pain as possible. For now, the strikes are limited to 3 assembly plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Missouri, but UAW President Shawn Fain says more will be added if the companies don't deliver better contracts soon.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
So how are you faring in the rough and tumble market? The experts at Beacon Capital Management understand it can be a little scary, but here's the thing. Beacon Capital Management has a plan to assess where you are and help make any mid-course corrections that might be needed. Wouldn't it be great to have peace of mind that you're on the right path. Beacon can provide you that reassurance, and all it takes is a simple phone call. Here's the number, 615-488-9303. The experts at Beacon will ask you some questions. You'll provide them some information, and they will take it from there. What do you have to lose except for all the worry? So get started today by calling that number, 615-488-9303. At the end of the process, you'll be able to rest easy knowing you have a plan that meets your retirement goals. Replace the worry with confidence that you're on the right path. The number again, 615-488-9303. The experts at Beacon stand ready to take your stress away. Learn more at askbeaconnow.com. "38 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. And as we mentioned earlier, it's time for a little thing that we do on Fridays at this time. And it's a thing we call Phone Your Farb Friday. Here's the number, 615-737-9986. That's the number. You call it, and then we'll set you up to say what's on your mind. I mean, maybe you have a bee in your bonnet. Maybe you have a burr under your saddle. Maybe you have a bug in a very unfortunate place. But don't matter. You just climb up on our 100,000-watt soapbox and express yourself. Get it off your chest within boundaries because it is a family show. 615-737-9986. Boy, the lines are really lighting up. We got one line open. Oh, no, it just filled. There you go. That's what you want. I'll start, and we'll let Chris catch up with us here as he screens some of the calls. We're going to get right to it. Shay in Murfreesboro. Shay, you're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Shay? Shay, I'm sorry. There you go. Hello, Shay.
Yes, I just have a question. I thought there was going to be a Bucky's in Murfreesboro soon.
There may be. I'm not aware of all the Bucky's planning. but that would be very cool, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Yeah. Have you been
Yeah,
to a
we can't
Bucky's,
have-
Shay?
Yes, I have. They're wonderful.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about going to Bucky's?
I have many favorites. I love their bathrooms. They have lots of employees.
Yeah.
I just love shopping around in there.
Yep. I'll tell you, the one thing is if you step into a Bucky's, you're not going to make it a quick, when I'm on the road, I'm trying to get somewhere, it's like, I want to get in, I want to get to the bathroom while my car is filling up, and I want to get it back into the car, and I want to get on the road, maybe get a snack. You step into a Bucky's, you're there for 30 minutes, which I think is part of their whole big plan. But thank you that I'll try to find out. Maybe somebody else will know about Murfreesboro. That would be good, though. It would be good. Justin in Lebanon. Justin, you're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Justin?
Hey, I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing very well.
I've got a question about 100% gun charge, and is it a federal law that if you are a drug addict, you're not allowed to conceal and carry?
I believe that is true. I believe if you're well, first of all, if you purchase a gun and you are on drugs, then that is definitely a violation of the law. I'm not a lawyer on this point, but I think that if you are a user of controlled substances, then I don't think that you would qualify to be a concealed carrier because you're not supposed to really have the gun. At least that's the way I understand it. I guess there are ways around that. Maybe you had the gun a long time before you became a controlled substance user. So, I don't know what you do in a situation like that, but I know you can't buy a gun, and it would make sense to me, at least logically, that you should not be a concealed carry person if you are under the influence of controlled substances. That's my guess.
You are in the great state of Tennessee and partake in the devil's lettuce a couple times a week. Would that disqualify you in Tennessee, even if you carried when you were sober?
Don't know. I don't think so. It would be hard for anybody to know, wouldn't it? But if you're carrying when you're sober, I don't think we got a problem, Justin. But consult with your lawyer for a more accurate legal answer. Paula in Culleoka. Paula, you're on with Brian on the drive. What's on your mind today, Paula?
Hi, Brian. First, I just want to say that Bucky's gives me bad anxiety, and I probably won't ever go into another one.
Really?
But the real reason the real reason I called was to ask about if and when we get a new president in 2024, will that person be able to send any of these people back? Do you think that will happen?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. There are 1.7 million people who came into the country through the southern border. 1.7 million. All right? Let's assume that by the time, Joe Biden gets kicked out of office, that it's around 2 million. How do you find 2 million people who you don't know where they are or who they are? That's one of the things that concerns me a great deal. We have allowed a lot of people in here who are very bad people, and we don't know anything about them because they came in, they're gotaways. We never had contact with them, and they came across illegally. And that there are millions and millions who came across and went through the process and got a piece of paper. We don't know much about them either. We don't know where they ended. And there was a story the other day that said that the Border Patrol and the federal government, the administration, don't have any idea where most of these folks are. They have no way to track them down. So it will be a struggle. I think if President Trump is to be reelected, he will try. I know one thing he'll do is he'll shut down the border. See, I think we're going to see a real surge as we enter election period, because I think a lot of folks are afraid that Trump will, who want to come to this country illegally, are afraid that Trump will be reelected and will shut down the borders again. So get ready. You think the surge is bad now, all the way through election season, I think it's going to be unbelievably bad. But thank you for the call, Paula. Ronnie and Murfreesboro. Hello, Ronnie. You're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say?
Yeah, this is Ron. What's the chances of you and I being president and vice president of the United States?
Zero.
All right, that's much chance we don't see Biden in the prison too.
So you think there's no chance he'll be reelected?
No, I'm talking about Hunter Biden being convicted of the gun crime.
Oh, you don't think he'll be?
You
don't think he's going to do any time at the Gray Bar Hotel? I'm sorry.
Absolutely not.
Well, I don't know. I think it's up to. It'll be a trial, and then there's got to be a conviction. Believe me, this is one of the most easy open and shut cases you've ever seen. This is an easy conviction. He's even written about the things that he's done, so I don't know how he can deny them. So, it's going to be a good chance that he'll be convicted on all three charges. And then the question is, what kind of sentence does he get? And I don't know. I don't know how you could be convicted of that and not do 1 day in prison. So we'll see.
Well, his father would pardon him, is what I'm thinking. But
Well,
anyway,
yeah.
and yes,
No, that's
we
a good
are
point.
having a Bucky's built in Murfreesboro.
You are? Okay, good. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Good to know.
Yeah.
Jerry in Murfreesboro, you're on with Brian on the drive. Hello, Jerry. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, Brian, you said something earlier this week where you said that McCarthy was in a tough spot, after what Gates said, because some of the people in the purple states, some of the representatives can't vote for an impeachment. I completely disagree with that, because that's not the way how the framers intended the Constitution to be. If you break the law, which he's clearly done, then it should be sent to the House of Representatives, and he basically, I know it's not a trial, but you figure out if you get all the evidence together and you find him, if he's guilty of it, then you impeach him and then you send it to the Senate. It should have absolutely nothing to do whether they're going to be reelected or not. If that's the way how they think, they shouldn't
Jerry,
be there.
there's a bit of nuance to this story, and it is hard to understand. Let me see if I can explain a couple of things in the time I have available. We're not at impeachment yet. We're at impeachment inquiry. Impeachment inquiry is basically giving the House of Representatives the authority and some greater powers to investigate whether or not there needs to be an impeachment. And that's where we are now. Now, you have a fair number of members in the House of Representatives who are Republican who come from purple states. And they are worried about voting for impeachment because they think that will blow back on them and they can't get reelected. All right, so that's the problem that McCarthy has. He doesn't have the votes. If he goes to the floor right now, the way it looks to me and the way I've read it, he doesn't have the votes to get an impeachment inquiry through the whole House. So he did a half measure and said, I'm going to give this order to the committees to begin it. But there is a problem out there if there are purple state Republicans who can't vote for it because they feel like they'll lose their seats if they do. And so Gates is out there saying, we need to do this, we need to do this. What I read into some of the stories this week is that Gates is pushing hard. By the way, I think Gates is going to be in the Nashville area in this weekend. According to Andy Ogles, they're going to be hanging out. But Gates wants things done now, and McCarthy doesn't have the votes, and he's walking a tightrope. And again, anything that happens in the House of Representatives, this is hard to explain, but anything that happens in the House of Representatives, as far as McCarthy is concerned, he can't lose but 5 votes, or the Democrats win the vote. He can't lose 5 moderates. He can't lose 5 conservatives. So he's got to walk a tightrope. And I know this is complicated. But we're not to impeachment yet. We're only at impeachment inquiry. McCarthy doesn't have the votes. The moderates are balking. I think you're right that, it seems pretty cut and clear to me. But again, McCarthy's walking this tightrope, and it's a difficult job. It's like herding cats. Lewis in Millersville, you're on with Brian on the drive. Hello, Lewis. What's up with you? What's on your mind?
Well, I've been in the parts business probably about 40 years. Over 20 years of that, I've been a parts manager. every year, January 1st, we have a budget that is approved. I work on the budget starting September, sometimes October, and I have it ready. It's approved, and January 1, bam, it goes into effect. I don't understand why every year our government has to wait till the last minute to negotiate and shut down the government or use it as a tool to Democrats are better than Republicans and all this bullcrap we go. Why can't they work on the budget and say, here it is, and when it's time for the budget, it's implemented and being done?
Well, because they're not responsible. That's, I mean, they're boneheads. I agree with you. I mean, it is one of the most important things that you do is make sure you pass a budget. But they don't seem to be capable of that. And here we are again. Looks like we are facing a very likely government shutdown in the days ahead. I don't see that getting resolved. Hey, listen, great session. If you didn't get on, and I'm sorry that you didn't get on, we're going to do this again at 5:35 after the news with Mac Morey. So I hope you will call back. Greatly appreciate it. 50 minutes now past the hour. King and Associates Insurance in Brentwood has been in business over 25 years as an independent agency, and that is an advantage for you, my friend. A big advantage. Let's talk about it. Well, first of all, an independent agency, they're small enough to really take care of their customers on an individual basis. I'll give you one example of that. If you call this number, 615-329-8121, you will not reach a call center. You will not get a recording saying, your call is very important to us. Please stand by. You're not going to get any of that. What you are going to get is somebody who will actually answer the phone and talk to you. That's right, an actual human. Can you believe it? And then the other thing is because they're an independent agency, they can find a policy that really fits your need. They don't have to just shove a square peg into a round pole. They can actually find exactly something that will help you, that is personalized to your very needs. Multi-policy discounts can save you big money, 20, 25, 30, 35%. So don't waste any time. Get your royal review with King & Associates. Just log into tkinginsurance.com. That's tkinginsurance.com. King Insurance & Associates, you'll get royal treatment and unbelievably good rates.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. I've been teaching investing on Nashville airwaves for over 20 years with the Investor Coaching Show. And in that time, I taught a lot about how markets work and how we invest money and academic principles of investing money. But I've also talked an awful lot about how to avoid the mistakes that people often make with their money. Think about it. A lot of people sold out of the market at the worst time when COVID struck, or when TARP happened, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or gold, they invested in that at the worst time. Bailing out of the market because they were worried about Y2K or 9/11 or jumping into energy stocks or jumping into cryptocurrency. One of the things that I like to do is educate investors because I believe that the more educated you are, the more confident you are, and the more confident you are, the more successful you can be as an investor. Now, I not only do that on our radio show, but we do that in our offices around the Nashville region, 10 offices. To learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call. Or you can call 615-851-1950.
United Auto Workers strike, a body found in the Cumberland River, some news in Michigan, and tourism in Nashville. We take a look at those numbers. Those stories and more coming up right here, 5 o'clock, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
57 minutes now past the hour. Chris, we have some information about the Bucky's in Murfreesboro, right?
Yeah, I had forgotten about this, but according to Murfreesboro.com, construction's actually underway. They're prepping the land there, and the store's expected to open on September 2nd of 2024, and that's right off to exit 20 I-24 at the Joe B. Jackson Parkway exit.
Well, there you go.
So right in our backyard.
Yeah, I'm sorry that information. I mean, I do remember that story. I didn't have the details right there on the tip of my tongue. All right, we got another 2 hours to go here, and you're listening to The Drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let's talk about assisted family care. One of the hardest things that we see as we grow older is that our parents or maybe our grandparents or maybe other relatives, well, they're getting older and they've gotten to an age where, the things that were once so easy have become a real struggle, the day-to-day things. Reminds us that they're going to need some help as they get older. And you're thinking, well, how are we going to make this happen? I've got my family. I've got my job. Maybe you're not even in the same area. You don't live in the same area. Well, whatever it is, you need to reach out to Assisted Family Care. They can connect you with a responsible, compatible, compassionate helper to help you with your loved one's daily needs. Now, there's a special provision for those who might be veterans or the spouse or the widow of a veteran. They could very well qualify for a little-known benefit that could help cover these kinds of expenses. You see, many veterans are eligible to receive up to 20 hours of daily living assistance each week, no cost. Not everyone is eligible, but if you're a veteran with wartime service, you could well qualify for the benefit for yourself or for your spouse. The application process is daunting and confusing, but Assisted Family Care has years of experience in cutting through the red tape to help veterans who are eligible to receive this benefit. They will connect you with, a compatible helper to assist with your daily needs. Assisted Family Care can be there for you. Assisted Family Care can help. Visit assistedfamilycare.com or call this number, 615-833-9725.
.501, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 85 degrees right now in Music City. Complete weather forecast, latest traffic report upcoming in 5 minutes. The United Auto Workers are now on a historic strike for the first time, walking out of facilities from all 3 U.S. automakers. But this is not a mass walkout for now. The union's aiming to disrupt corporate operations with targeted strikes at 3 facilities. President Biden delivering remarks at the White House this afternoon, and he says that workers deserve a fair contract. Karen Travers.
President Biden says he hopes the UAW and the auto companies can return to the negotiating table and reach what he calls a, quote, win-win agreement.
No one wants a strike. Say it again. No one wants a strike. But I respect workers' right to use their options under the collective bargaining system. And I understand the workers' frustration. Over generations, auto workers sacrificed so much to keep the industry alive and strong, especially through the economic crisis and the pandemic.
The president said the record profits of auto companies have not been shared fairly among auto workers.
And the GM plant in Spring Hill has not yet been affected by the strike. They're reporting on a day-to-day basis until they hear from their union representative. And this just in from Channel 4. A body was found in the Cumberland River this afternoon. The Nashville Fire Department was notified by a barge company about the body. An autopsy is now going to be conducted. And nearly 3 years after authorities first reported a plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan, the final defendants charged in the plot learned their fates today. Brian Clark details.
Michael and William Null, along with Eric Molitor, were acquitted of all charges stemming from the 2020 plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. William Null and Molitor testified during the trial they had taken part in gun drills with a group, and they checked out the governor's lakeside property. But the Nulls said they withdrew from the plot when leader Adam Fox began to discuss obtaining explosives. Fox was one of 9 people convicted, but 5 have now been acquitted. Governor's chief of staff said Friday's verdicts were disappointing and, quote, further encourage and embolden radical extremists.
Tourism in Nashville, Channel 4, based on a report from the Economic Impact of Travel, says that a record $9.97 billion was generated from tourism in Davidson County last year. The report states that it's a 35% increase from 2021, and they estimate $27 million a day are spent in Nashville. They say over $1 billion comes from state and local tax revenue. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
7 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. It's hour number 3. 2 hours down, 2 hours to go on the big extravaganza we call The Drive. Glad you're with us. Let's get you home on this Friday evening. And it is September 15th, halfway through the month, and payday for some folks. So, listen, we're glad that you're with us as we open up this next hour. Now, a couple of things are going to happen this hour that I think that I want to make you aware of. Number one is coming up in just a few minutes. It'll be Mac Morey's Wide World of Sports.
Try to get that down before it happens. Yeah,
Wide World of Sports is what it is, and it'll be happening at about 25 minutes past the hour. Mac Morey, this has become, I know you're listening, this has become a fan favorite. People are raving about Mac Morey's Wide World of Sports.
That is awesome. I can't wait for another one, man.
Okay, well, it's coming up in just a few minutes. I hope you're ready.
We're ready.
And then after that, Mac will then move from sports back to news. That's a short turnaround for you, by the way. We finish up talking about sports, and then boom, you got to turn right into a newscast. But you're such a good broadcaster, I know you can handle it. And then after that, we have, because it's Friday, round 2 of Phone Your Farb Friday, where you get a chance to sound off. And so, you put your best questions, your best ideas, your best commentary together, and we'll do that, after the news at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to start off this hour by saying congratulations to Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell, who defeated Alice Rowley. I mean, every time we have a mayoral election, and I've been through several of them now in Nashville, conservatives have some hope that somehow the people who live in Nashville proper will wake up and realize that even though they're not happy with the way things are being done, the way the city is being run, and with their high taxes, etc., they keep voting, these progressive Democrats in office. So it was about 61,000 votes for O'Connell, 34,000 for about 2-1. And it's every time I've seen a mayoral election, it's been about 2-1. It's just, and to Alice Rowley, good campaign, well fought, but it's a heavy lift in Davidson County where, the Democrats just outnumber the Republicans. It's like this island of blue in an ocean of red. That's what somebody said. It's like a blueberry dropped into a bowl of tomato soup.
Ugh.
It doesn't sound very tasty. Yeah, I know. So anyway, now, as long as I'm talking about the mayoral election, let me just also say very much a thank you to the voters of Nashville proper for once again holding up what I think is the most important thing when you're in talk radio, that you have given me a mayor who looks to be easily mockable. I've had a great run on mockable mayors. I was barely in town. About 3 days, I think I was in town, Chris, when the whole Megan Barry thing blew up. And, that was endless fun. And then, I'm telling you, you remember how much fun we had with all that on the morning show?
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up with David Briley, who we called Mayor Cellophane, because you could look right through him as like nobody was there. He was the singularly most dull human being I've ever met, with all due respect. No, I don't have any respect. He was just a dull individual.
I think you called him Mayor Milquetoast a little bit too.
Yeah, we did that too. Yeah. And then we got John Cooper, and I tried my very best to reach out to him, and Mayor Cooper actually came on the show a few times.
Yeah, he did.
And I thought, well, maybe we can find some peace with this guy, because he had the reputation of being a fiscal conservative. And, and then it turned out that when he became mayor, he spent money like a drunken sailor and hit everybody up for a 34% tax increase. Interesting enough, by the way, I don't understand why, people in Nashville complain endlessly about the tax increase, the 34% tax increase, and how difficult it was on them. And then they elect a guy mayor who voted for the tax increase in Freddie O'Connell. So, I called Mayor Cooper. He had a nickname too. It was at first we called him Minnie Cooper, and then he became Mayor Munchkin. And then I was told, no, I can't do that anymore. So then I had to change it to the mayor, formerly known as Mayor Munchkin. He's got a few more days in office, and I'd like to have a goodbye interview with him.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun. So
so he could list all his accomplishments.
Yeah, that's right. We have a lot to talk about, and I always thought again, you gave me a good mockable mayor when you gave me Mayor Cooper, because he has eyebrows that sort of remind you of an Oompa Loompa, and he was sort of short like a Oompa Loompa. I mean, it's just, there was endless possibilities there.
Put some green hair on him. Yeah,
yep, there you go.
Right there.
Oompa Loompa. And so I don't have a nickname for Freddie O'Connell as yet, but I'm looking at the guy, and I think it's just a matter of time. He will give me the nickname in rather short order, I think.
Yeah, he'll provide it for us. By the way, I got tons of suggestions on the text line. 90% of them I cannot repeat on the air.
Well,
thank you for those.
If you've got something you think I can use, send it to the text line, and we'll make a note of it. But look, this guy, well, you know what you're getting here. He says he's one of the most progressive people in all of government, and he's going to be a progressive leader. I hope that you would withhold on that instinct for just a moment. And so here is my memo to Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell as he prepares to take office. Here are the things that I think you need to do to make the city a better place. And it doesn't have to do with, progressive ideas. It has to do with being somebody who actually manages government well. And I think there's some room for improvement in that area. The first thing I'm going to say to you, even though I live in beautiful, bucolic Watertown, I do consider Nashville as, a place of great importance. I mean, many people, they live in the suburbs, but they come to work there. They come to play there. They come to spend their tax dollars there. And so, we have a vested interest, even if we don't live in Nashville. So here is my suggestion to make Nashville a better place. Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell. Number one, clean the damn town up. It's filthy. I mean, if you drive through town, intersection after intersection after intersection, there's just trash. Trash is an easy problem to solve, Mayor. And let's clean this town up and make it, all you need is some people, some elbow grease, and a few trucks, and you could do an amazing amount of work, an amazing improvement on the way the city looks. We count, what is it, $10 billion a year in tourism dollars. Let's clean this town up so it's not a filthy town. Let's make sure that we clean. And by the way, I think part of that problem is you've got a homeless problem that you really need to address. You need to clean up the homeless encampments, and I think you'll get rid of a lot of the trash that you have in this town. But just clean it up. Again, a truck, a few guys, out there doing some work on a daily basis. Inside a month, you could make a big difference. It's an easy problem to fix. So there's one thing. I would say to you that one of the things you could do that would really help the whole situation is to focus on the basic services that government provides. Basic services. And what is the most important service of all? Public safety. Job number one. We've got a crime problem. We've got a drug problem. I mean, we just read a story the other day said that behind Baltimore, Nashville is number 2 on the number of people who die due to fentanyl deaths. And so, basically law enforcement needs some support. And our police officers, They're stretched too thin. We don't have enough of them. We need more of them. The response times are suffering in this town because we don't have enough police officers on the beat. I talk to police officers all the time, and they many of them have my phone number, and they share information with me, and they are deflated because they feel like that nobody cares about what they're trying to do. And so I would say to you, number one, support your law enforcement, support your fire department, public safety, job number one, make sure that's done. Make sure that, that you are paying attention to the crime problem. It's not all your problem. You have to deal with a DA who doesn't want to prosecute anybody and just doesn't want to take anybody to trial, doesn't want to put anybody in the Gray Bar Hotel. But one way or the other, I'm telling you, you need to focus on that. And then basic services. Pick up the trash, as I said. Make sure that, that you're getting those things done, the trash service, etc. Make sure that, you fill the potholes and you just take care of the basic things that we expect out of government. Then, and only then, if you have a little extra money, well, that's gravy. But to take care of the basic things and set this city looking a little sharper, a little bit more on its tippy toes and less on its heels, okay? Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell. I want you, honestly, to be kidding aside, I want you to have some success because I love this town. People who live here love this town, and we want to make it better. And these are the things that I think you could do that would really solve the problem. Address the homeless, clean up the streets, focus on basic services, and reach out to law enforcement. And make sure that you're doing everything you can to make Nashville a safer place. You'll go a long way with a lot of people if you will just take care of those things before you head off in your progressive, ideas and all the things you want to do with that taxpayer money. By the way, sharpen the pencil a bit on the budget, would you? I think there's a lot of fat there. And I think you could go a long way and get a great deal of goodwill out of the people if you would make sure that, we're spending money on the things that are important and not spending on money on the things that are not important. I don't have any real hope that you're going to pull back from your very progressive agenda, but, a guy can hope, can he? A guy can hope. It is 20 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk. Grace Point Healthcare delivers medicine affordably with menu-style transparent pricing. You'll know how much it costs before the care is delivered. Smart Care plans start at $69 a month. And, man, you get a lot for that $69. You get unlimited office visits. You get free basic labs for the entire year. And because they treat the entire family, even newborns, they offer family plans as well. You marry that with a high-deductible insurance plan could save you and your family a lot of money. At Grace Point, they take their time with each patient. They see you the same or next day. There are no long wait times or crowded wait rooms. They treat naturally whenever possible. It is a military vet-owned practice. Just some of the reasons why it's been voted the best primary care provider by Toasted Music City, year after year after year. Grace Point wants you to know that they understand that some people are suffering right now with seasonal allergies. I'm one of them. Grace Point offers allergy testing and treatment so you can get back out and enjoy the great outdoors. Grace Point Healthcare, Main Street in Franklin, 599-6868 to schedule a visit.
President Biden planning to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, a house fire in Spring Hill, and South Texas going through the ringer when it comes to their weather. I'll have those stories and more at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 25 minutes now past the hour, which is becoming appointment radio for a lot of people right now. Everybody tunes in at this time because it is time for Mac Morey's Wide World of Sports.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
This is Mac Morey's Wide World of Sports with your host. Well, it's Mac Morey.
Hello,
there we
hello.
Go. Hello.
Small crowd today, but they're excited.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're a small crowd, but they are enthusiastic.
Yes.
Small but enthusiastic crowd there. Well, Mac Morey, it is time to talk about what's going on in the world of sports. And, of course, we're getting ready for another Titans game. And, we saw the last one, and it was frustrating. I mean, I got a kick out of it, but that's all I got out of it was a bunch of kicking. Hell of a kicker we got there, but not a lot of other offense. So bring us up to date on where we are and this game we're going to see this weekend.
Yeah, that was maybe the only bright spot for last week, Brian. The Titans actually have a kicker in Nick Folk.
Yeah, a really good kicker.
A really good kicker, something they have not had in previous seasons. But, yeah, they're facing the Los Angeles Chargers this weekend, and this is kind of like the AFC West version of the Tennessee Titans. A lot of talent, a lot of expectations, and they tend to just kind of fall short, whether it's injuries, whether it's a bad call or a miscue at the end of the game. I mean, they lost in a heartbreaker by 3 points just last weekend. And so they're both coming off some heartbreaking losses, looking for that first win. The Titans have played the Chargers 3 times since 2018, and the points scored, there's a differential of 1. Three games, and there's 1 point difference. The Chargers have scored
pretty
more
evenly
points.
Matched, yeah.
Very evenly matched, but very different play styles. And so I'm just looking at some things to watch for this game, Brian. And you mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the Titans after that Saints loss. We didn't see a lot of our guy, King Henry. Only 15 rushing attempts. So I'm waiting for big number 22 to have kind of a breakout game, get back to the basics,
Yeah, listen, I mean, he's just remarkable. I look at him every time I watch him play, I just go, how much abuse can one man take? I mean, he just keeps coming and coming and coming. I mean, an incredibly impressive player. There's no doubt about it.
And I'm sure that, wanting to keep him healthy factors into, the number of carries he gets per game. But, he's the horse. You got to ride him, man.
Absolutely. No, he's going to be 30 years old, or he might have just turned 30. Either way, he's getting to a rather old age for a running back, especially. He's got a lot of usage. So you're right. They brought in a running back in Tajay Spears this year on the draft, and he played more snaps in his first NFL game last week than Derrick Henry did. He was on the field more often, which was a surprise. They knew they were going to spell out Derrick Henry, but I think they're going to draw that back a little bit and go, okay, let's go back to our bread and butter. Let's feed number 22, because if you don't remember, on Sunday, Ryan Tannehill, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, I remember.
he was not throwing to the guys in the blue jerseys enough. Let's just say that. He was tending to throw it to the other team. So
that's not good.
Yeah, so maybe give him a little more comfort, give him a little more time in the pocket, and set up that run game.
And that's my real question, Mac, is that, when a quarterback struggles, sometimes the quarterback gets the blame when it's really not the quarterback's blame. Sometimes it is, did he have enough time in the pocket to set and go through all of his possibilities before he had to throw the ball? What's your sense of that?
Yeah, I think the offensive line, obviously, it's a patchwork offensive line right now for the Tennessee Titans. A lot of new names. They've got one familiar one, though, coming back this week in Dylan Radins, and he'll be back on the offensive line. That's a formidable player. They need him up front. But this is a Los Angeles Chargers team, Brian, where it's going to be some similar issues. Maybe not all that girth up front, but they've got 2 edge rushers named Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. And these guys are physical beasts, and they're going to be coming for Tannehill. So you're right. This O-line, the tests aren't going to stop, especially in the AFC, which is a tough conference. So it's going to be very physical. And if they can set the tone early, Vrabel's got to come out with that game plan and just get some comfort going. It felt like the offense never, ever found a flow.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, listen, Mac, a prediction for the final score.
Ooh, let's go a classic grinded out Titans game, a little higher scoring than last week. The Chargers are going to throw it all over the field. I'm going to go 26-23. Titans get a win.
All right.
Nice.
I'll cross my fingers, and I hope that you're right. Mac Morey's Wide World of Sports, now 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7.
Thirty minutes after the hour of 5 o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Currently 84 degrees in Nashville. Got a complete weather forecast. The latest traffic report upcoming in 5 minutes. President Biden planning to meet next week with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Here's Karen Travers.
President Biden will sit down with Ukrainian President Zelensky at the White House next week, their third meeting in Washington. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said Friday the meeting between the two leaders, which will come after the UN General Assembly, takes place at a critical time.
As Russia desperately seeks help from countries like North Korea for its brutal war in Ukraine, as Ukrainian forces continue to make progress in their counteroffensive.
Right now in Tennessee, News 2 reports that a fire broke out at a Spring Hill home. It ended the lives of a few furry friends. Some of those pets passed away. The fire happened in the Whithill subdivision yesterday afternoon. None of the homeowners were hurt. The cause of those flames still unknown, and the back of the home was what took the most damage. An extreme heat, a relentless drought, and now earthquakes. Jim Ryan says that's what South Texas has been enduring.
4 times in the past week, Karnes County, southeast of San Antonio, has been jolted by earthquakes ranging from the magnitude 3.1 on Monday afternoon to the 4.0 quake that rattled windows on Thursday. None of the earthquakes has been strong enough to do any damage. It's thought the recent outbreak is the result of oil field fracking activity in the area.
And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
You know, if you're a fan of Legend Steakhouse like I am, you can enjoy some of those same flavors right at home, fresh off your very own grill. Take a walk down your local grocery store aisles, places like Walmart or Kroger, and look for Johnny Fleeman's very own brand. You'll likely see his famous fruit teas at your local grocery store, along with salad dressings and Johnny Fleeman's steak marinades. You see, Johnny Fleeman's proprietary blend will give your steaks, chicken, or chops a flavor that will hit a home run with family and friends. It's low in sodium, about a third of other brands. You don't have to worry about over-marinating. You can also use his marinade to enhance many of your other favorite dishes, like rice recipes, fresh vegetables, just about anything. So if your favorite grocer is not stocking Johnny Fleeman products, ask them to do so. To go get more information, just go to johnnyfleeman.com. And it goes without saying, for those times when you want someone else to do the cooking, they'll always be glad to see you at your nearest Legend Steakhouse for lunch or dinner. $37 now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I am Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and we're so glad that you're with us here for the drive. We have reached that time. It's one of my favorite times of the week. It's Friday. It's a little after 5:35, so we do this little thing that we like to call Phone Your Farb Friday. That's right. We want to know what's on your mind. So this is the way it works. You get on the phone and you dial this number, 615-737-9986. Maybe you got a bee in your bonnet. Maybe you have a burr under your saddle. Or maybe you have a bug in a most unfortunate place. Well, this is the idea. You get on the phone and you express yourself. Maybe you want to take umbrage. It's a 100,000-watt soapbox. So all you got to do is climb up on the soapbox and express yourself, and we'll go through this. I mean, this is my favorite part of the week because most of the time when we're on the phones, it's a rather directed conversation. I'm looking for your thoughts about one topic or the other, but I want to make sure that we always give people a chance to express themselves about whatever is on their mind. So this is the Friday event. We had a great round in the last hour. And so we're looking for another excellent round. Listen, phone lines are open. Get busy, folks, 615-737-9986. To the phone lines we go. This is good. Sam in Smith County. Now, Sam, I want you to be nice here. But you say you have a nickname for our new Nashville mayor?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
And it shall be Ichabod Crane. He looks just like him.
Really? I've never really looked at Ichabod Crane.
You've never watched Sleepy Hollow, the Halloween show?
I know the story, but I don't think I've ever seen it, so I'll have to take a look at that. But I'll tell you, look, he's in his honeymoon period. When you have a new politician that's recently elected to office, you give them a honeymoon period. I don't really have the name yet, but I know it will come. But I do appreciate that, and I will take a moment to look up Ichabod Crane, and I'll get back with you on the air, I promise you. Sam, thank you for the call, and thank you for paying attention. Aubrey in Murfreesboro. Hello, Aubrey. You're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say?
Hey, Brian, I just want to say that we all know that Joe Biden does not like Obama, and Obama does not like Joe Biden. And Obama said if you gave Joe the chance, he would F things up, which he has. And I think as his handler, Obama has given him everything served on a platter to destroy himself and this country.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know about the relationship. I mean, they had a reputation of when Biden was in office. When Obama was in office as president, he and Biden had lunch once a week without fail. They had lunch once a week, and it was always said that it was among the most important, unbreakable appointments that President Obama had every week. The last thing I heard was when he decided to run for the office of the presidency, Obama called up his people. Many of them, of course, the people who work for Biden are the same people who work for Obama. And he said, I have only one request. Don't let the man embarrass himself. Well, he has embarrassed himself. I mean, he's an embarrassment. And he has lingered too long on the stage. And look, there are a lot of people who think that this guy has got to go, just absolutely has to go. So we'll see. But thank you so much for the call. We have some phone lines open, 615-737-9986. Let's go to Jerry in Murfreesboro. Jerry, good afternoon. You're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Jerry?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about the cleanliness we were talking about earlier.
About Nashville being sort of a dirty town? Yeah, I mean, it needs to be cleaned up.
We were born and raised in Nashville almost 7 years ago, me and the wife. And Nashville used to take everything and put it in that darn river down there. In the early 70s, I was on a crew that helped put some of the last cobblestone. Nashville used to have streetcars, put top cobblestone into the Cumberland River by Fort Nashboro. We throw our history away or we ruin it with nothing but trash. I don't know what – I got a ticket one time for throwing out a sack of trash as a teenager of crystals, and I shouldn't have done it. It taught me a lesson. Nowadays, it's bad. I don't know what to do about it, Brian. I really don't. My town looks like food a lot of places over there. I don't know what they're going to do, or if they even care about it. It seems like, you know, it's still my place. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Well, listen, Jerry, I appreciate it. And what I would say is that, the trash can be picked up pretty easily. The problem is, as soon as you pick it up, I think to some degree because of the homeless problem in Nashville, look, I'm trying to be serious here. I'm not just banging away and insulting Nashville, but as soon as you pick up the trash, you've got the same problem. I think those two things go together. But it doesn't take anything but manpower and a few trucks to clean up this town. You just have to dedicate people to it. And I'm hoping that the new mayor will take that upon himself to make it a cleaner town. I think we all would appreciate it. And look, it's my job to throw rocks at Democrats from time to time, but I would be so appreciative of that. Listen, that would really go a long way with a lot of people who maybe didn't vote for him. I think it'd be a way to really, really make the town better and to ingratiate himself to many people who live and work and play here. But thank you for that. Greatly appreciate it. How about Mike in White House? Mike, good afternoon. You're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Mike?
How's it going, Brian?
Going well.
Good. I was thinking about, you remember Mr. Magoo?
Ah, yeah.
Freddie Magoo O'Connell.
Well,
He's got the glasses.
Yeah.
And his, I think he's already been blinded, so he fits right in there.
All right, I'll take it under advisement, Mike. Thank you so much. William out on the road. William, you're on with Brian on the drive. Hello, William.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, William?
Yeah, it's on the new mayor, and I guess I think there's a lot of resemblance. If you go to Parks and Recreation, the show that was on before, and Ron Swanson punches the council member. His name is Jeremy Jam. If you go look at it, he looks just like the new mayor. He kind of acts like a little bit. He's goofy, it's very funny. But Jeremy Jam, Parks and Recreation.
All right, I'll take a look at it. Look, I'll give it a shot. These are good ideas. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I think generally what will happen is that as he takes office, he'll step in it. He'll do something, and the name will become self-evident. The nickname will come in short order, I think. All right, Craig on the road. Hello, Craig. You're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Craig?
You talk about the trash being picked up and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I drive all over the city every day, and I watched a crew one time. We got these nice galvanized see-through trash cans with a plastic bag in it, and the crew guy jumped off the truck, grabbed the bag. There was trash in the can still. There was trash on the ground around it, but all he grabbed was the bag and left.
Yeah. Didn't take any time to clean up around it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a city worker. That was a city worker.
Okay. Look, I think honestly, we need to focus on this. It's be one of my campaigns. I think honestly, this is so easily fixed. It's not an overcomable problem. I mean, it's not something that we can't overcome. That's what I'm trying to say. We can do this, but it requires a reallocation of resources and a rededication to trying to make the town look a little better. I hope he will pick up on that. Matt, also in Nashville, wants to talk about our mayor-elect. Hello, Matt. You're on with Brian on the Drive. What do you say?
What I say is this, though. A telltale sign of anything is I remember walking a dog on the green space in front of City Hall one morning years ago, seeing drug paraphernalia in front of a bench. Thank God the needle was capped, but again, this was under Megan Barry. So that to me is a telltale sign of what the mayor's doing. If there's drug paraphernalia right there at City Hall by the bench, that tells me all I need to know about about the mayor.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate it. Yes, we do have a homeless problem, and much of the homeless problem is connected to drugs. And by the way, said the other day, I don't know if you heard my story and my report on this, we've got an overdose problem with drugs. I mean, we've got a drug problem in Nashville, a real one. It's caused in part by a Democrat president who opened the borders and is allowing the fentanyl and the other illegal drugs to flow in. But I'm going to say it again. It's an embarrassment that Nashville, Tennessee, has more drug overdose deaths than every other city in the country save Baltimore. What does that tell you? Now, that's a statistic that our new mayor would be well to study. All right? Let's go. We got, by the way, got some time to fill here and a couple of open lines. Get on at 737-9986. Nancy in Hermitage. Nancy, you're on with Brian on the Drive. What do you say, Nancy?
Hi, Brian. Couple of things. One, you were talking this week about Kennedy assassination and LBJ. Google or YouTube the mistress to LBJ and listen to her confession. She's also the mother of LBJ's illegitimate son. Very interesting. And you get to watch her. That woman knows what she saw and witnessed just the night before the murder.
Wow.
It was a murder.
Well, okay, and I'm telling you, there are a lot of questions that are remaining about this. And number one, this news story today, this week was that one of the Secret Service agents said that he picked up a second bullet and put it on the stretcher because he thought it would be evidence, and somehow he believes that ended up in the process of ending up on Governor Connolly's stretcher. And he says, if my memories are correct about all this, then the magic bullet theory, the one bullet theory, would not be true, and it's causing a lot of people to actually stop and think about whether or not we have all the facts there. But boy, you talk about the Kennedy assassination, and you get a lot of people started. I don't think anybody believes we've heard the whole story. I really don't. All right, let's see. What else have we got there? Let's go to Nick in Madison. Nick, you're on with Brian on the Drive. What do you say, Nick?
Hello, Brian.
Nick? Hey, yeah, you're up, buddy.
Thank you, Brian. I just, from yesterday to today, you brought up a stat that Nashville is the number 2
fentanyl overdose death. Yeah, right, in the country.
Yes. My question would be, though, because Nashville is basically a party city like Vegas, how many of those deaths are people bringing all of the fentanyl or just bringing the drugs with them and then overdosing here while they're partying in town?
I don't know, but what I hear from law enforcement officers is that they get called out maybe 2 or 3 times a shift. 2 or 3 times a shift. That's an 8-hour period inside Davidson County for some kind of drug overdose. And so it sounds like to me that it's not necessarily a tourism problem, but these are the people who live here. But I mean, it's a fair point and something that should be investigated. And I take your point, Nick. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. On that note, we will wrap up our second round of Phone Your Farm Friday. It's 15 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. D.T. McCall and Sons, they've been around for more than 100 years, and you know the reason why? Because they have a reputation of treating people right. I mean, you don't get to last that long unless you are a company that deals with people forthrightly. And here's an example of what they will do. Maybe you bought an appliance from a big box store, and you got this great price. You thought, well, that's a good price. I'll buy it here. But then, they start asking you questions, things like, hey, do you want this thing delivered? Yeah, well, of course you want it delivered. And they say, well, that'll be so much. This charge for that is that much. And then they say, do you want it installed? Well, of course you want it installed. Well, that's going to be an extra charge as well. Oh, by the way, that old thing that you're replacing, do you want it hauled away? Yes, of course you want it hauled away. Well, that's an extra charge as well. And then what you find at the end of the day is it wasn't such a good price after all. At DT McCall's, they're going to give you an honest price. They'll give you an honest price, and it'll be a good price, but I promise you this, you won't be charged extra for the delivery, the setup, or the haul away. That's the way you deal with people forthrightly, and that's the way that you want to do business with people who do things that way. Huge supply of appliances, furniture, anything you want for your home, and whenever possible, DT McCall's sells materials that are manufactured and distributed and built right here in Middle Tennessee. Listen, find out about their 5 convenient locations. All you have to do is go to their website, dtmccalls.com.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. I've been teaching investing on Nashville airwaves for over 20 years with the Investor Coaching Show. And in that time, I taught a lot about how markets work and how we invest money and academic principles of investing money. But I've also talked an awful lot about how to avoid the mistakes that people often make with their money. Think about it. A lot of people sold out of the market at the worst time when COVID struck, or when TARP happened, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or gold, they invested in that at the worst time. Bailing out of the market because they were worried about Y2K or 9/11 or jumping into energy stocks or jumping into cryptocurrency. One of the things that I like to do is educate investors because I believe that the more educated you are, the more confident you are, and the more confident you are, the more successful you can be as an investor. Now, I not only do that on our radio show, but we do that in our offices around the Nashville region, 10 offices. To learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call, or you can call 615-851-1950.
You know, this is the time of year where you could have either your heating or your air conditioning needed and it doesn't function. And you could have plumbing go out at any time. If you have a problem with plumbing or heating or cooling, call the people I would call, the folks at Busy Bee, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your official Rude Pro partner. And now, look, they'll come out and they'll fix you if you got a problem. But if you have reached the point where, well, quite frankly, these things don't last forever, you need to replace the system. You're not going to find a better price on that than you will at Busy Bee. You might want to become a member of the Beehive Club. I sure am, and I sure am glad that I am. You'll get 3 thorough maintenance services, one aimed at heating, one aimed at cooling, one aimed at plumbing. No overtime charges 24/7, 10% off all repairs. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling at 775-7833, online at busybeehvac.com.
.601, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 82 degrees, a sunny day in Music City. Expecting some possible showers tomorrow and maybe a little wet on Sunday as well. Weekend weather forecast, latest traffic report on the way in 5 minutes. President Biden planning to meet next week with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky will also visit Congress. Karen Travers has details.
President Biden's national security advisor Jake Sullivan says Ukrainian President Zelensky will also make a trip to Capitol Hill when he's in Washington next week. He'll meet with Democratic and Republican leadership in the House and Senate. Zelensky's visit to the White House and the Capitol comes as the Biden administration is pushing lawmakers to approve $24 billion in supplemental funding for Ukraine. When pushed on how confident he is that the president will be able to assure Zelensky the U.S. will come through, Sullivan said,
"We believe, based on our consultations on the Hill, that there continues to be strong bipartisan support in both houses for continued funding."
And another false threat in Middle Tennessee. News 2 says that there were rumors floating around this morning of an active shooter at Sunset Middle School in Williamson County. Police took to social media immediately and they confirmed that there was no threat. Officials right now trying to figure out where this bogus information originated from. And this comes after multiple threats have been made in the Nashville area, including AT&T Building and the Hard Rock Cafe downtown, all turning out to be false. And prosecutors bringing the federal January 6th case against former President Donald Trump are asking the judge to impose a gag order on the former president, Stephen Portnoy.
Prosecutors point to the former president's posts on social media saying Donald Trump has said inflammatory things about D.C., the judge presiding over his case, the prosecutor bringing the case, and witnesses who might testify. The special counsel's office is now asking Judge Tanya Chutkin to issue what the filing calls a narrow, well-defined restriction on Trump's speech, preventing him from calling out witnesses or making disparaging, inflammatory, or intimidating statements about anyone tied to the case. Trump's attorneys have been given 10 days to respond.
And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Well, good evening, everyone. 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. We got one more hour before we call it a weekend, and we hand it over to Mark Levin, the great one. Listen, it's the 15th day of September. Let's get you home safely and try to get you some information. I think I've got a thing here that you're going to love. I've been holding on to it all day. I've been trying to find the right place to work it in, and I'm just going to shove it in here because I think this is hilarious. Democrats are beginning to realize that they have an incredibly bad problem with their running the person who's running for re-election. Joe Biden, boy, I mean, the numbers don't look good. I've got some numbers I'll share here with you in a moment. But he's not doing well in the swing states, and a lot of people are thinking, that the problem is going to be when you get to election day. A lot of people are going to look at Joe and say, I don't think he's long for this world. I don't think he's going to be able to make it for another 4 years, much less through this first 4 years. And they're looking at, well, who's the vice president? And it's Kamala Harris, and she's got worse numbers than he has. And they realize that a lot of people are going to have real hesitation to vote for Biden, given the fact that there's nobody in the vice presidential running mate slot that they can support. And so reporters are now starting to ask Democrats, is Kamala Harris the best person to be his running mate? And, there's I think, sort of a movement or some thought that maybe we need to dump Kamala Harris. And so Jake Tapper, of all people, Jake Tapper over at CNN is talking to Democrat Jamie Raskin. And you're going to love this. This is 2 minutes and 30 seconds of so much waffling that you think you're going to need some syrup by the time it's all done. Here we go.
Do you think Vice President Kamala Harris is the best running mate for President Biden? And what do you make of Speaker Pelosi's answer there?
I mean, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with that answer. Obviously, President Biden, Vice President Harris, Speaker Pelosi, for that matter, all of us have been laboring under just a deluge of propaganda, disinformation, and criticism by the MAGA right. This is a rule or ruin faction, which takes the position that if they're not going to be able to control the direction of government, they are going to throw grease in the gears to try to shut everything down.
Hold on just a minute. Just one thing. If you put grease in gears, it doesn't slow things down. It generally makes it better. I don't know what he's talking about there, but we'll let that one pass.
And what we're all dealing with right now is this impending September 30th deadline, because the MAGA right wants to shut down the government.
You are doing what Speaker Pelosi did, which is not answering the question. Do you think Kamala Harris is the best running mate for President Biden?
Is it? Well, obviously, she gave the right answer. That's President Biden's choice, and I think she's an excellent running mate for President Biden. I don't know what more needs to be said about that. Obviously, people are still trying to, throw presidential politics into turmoil, but President Biden and Vice President Harris are running on an excellent record, $1.2 trillion investment in infrastructure, the Inflation Reduction Act, record
He's trying to change the topic.
Action. We've reduced prescription drug prices, and so there's a very strong policy record to run on there, and I want to resist the tendency to try to trivialize all politics by making it just about personalities.
It's not no one's making it about personalities. I mean, it's just a simple question. Do you think Kamala Harris is the best running mate for President Biden? You've said she's excellent. That's farther than Speaker Pelosi went. But do you think she's the I'm not trying to throw anything into turmoil. I actually think it's a pretty simple question. Do you think Kamala Harris is the best running mate for President Biden? Yes or no?
I mean, I don't know what else I can say other than she would be an excellent running mate and an excellent vice president. I don't know whether President Biden has named his running mate. We're going to a convention next summer. It's a year away from now, and we're going to go through that process. So,
I mean, you say I don't know why you can say. The answer is you could say yes. You could say yes. I think Kamala Harris is the best vice president and the best running mate for President Biden. That's the answer you could be giving right now. Yes, she is.
So I've not seen any public opinion polling. You might be a stronger vice presidential running mate than her or me or anybody else. I don't know who else, if you're talking about the polling, but I will tell you as a matter of substance and public policy, she'd be an excellent choice. Wow. And she and the president have done an excellent job.
Well, he never did answer it. I mean, kudos. I mean, as somebody who has asked a few questions in my day and has gotten some waffling answers, you go back once, you go back twice. If you're really feeling like you're feeling like you need an answer, you go back 3 times. I very rarely see somebody go back 4 times to ask the same question. Never did get an answer. But the Democrats are spiraling. I mean, they are really desperately worried about this. Let me tell you why. I'm going to give you some numbers here. Fox News has a new poll out, and I'm going to read you the numbers from the last 4 polls. Okay, the last one will be the Fox News poll, and it asks the question of Republican voters: who do you support? The Messenger and the Harris X poll. Trump leads all other Republicans by 48 points. The Q poll. Trump leads by an even 50 points. Listen to this. Trump 62, DeSantis follows with 12. So he's 50 points ahead of DeSantis and the rest of the field. Harvard Harris has Trump up by 47 points. Fox News, which came out today, says Trump 60, DeSantis 13, which means that Trump leads DeSantis in this particular poll by 47. I mean, I've never seen anything quite like that. In all the years that I've covered politics, I've never seen anybody. It is very clear that Republicans are very supportive of Donald Trump as their nominee. By and large, I don't see how anybody, unless something happens that we don't foresee, I don't see how anybody in the rest of the poll, I don't even know why they're even bothering at this point, because I don't see how you overcome a 50 or a 47 or a 48% advantage. I mean, I just don't see how you do it. And so what that tells me is Republicans, they're enthusiastic about Trump. I mean, they are really excited. They're going to go to the polls and they're going to vote and they're going to be happy to vote for Trump, and they'll go back in November and they'll vote for him again against whoever the nominee is. On the other hand, compare and contrast that where Biden is. His numbers are disastrous. And here is what really has Democrats in a panic, in a spiral right now. The states that had the narrowest margin of victory, this is from the Daily Caller, for either candidate in the last presidential election cycle were, in alphabetical order, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Those are the so-called battleground states. You got to win these. You got to win these. Now, in the last election cycle, Biden won everything except North Carolina. But across those key swing states today, Trump is ahead of Biden 41 to 35, with 24% of voters saying they are undecided. That's right. Trump is ahead of Biden. By the way, undecided voters almost always break towards something new and different. And so you would expect, if past is prologue, that 24% of the voters who say they're undecided would at the last minute go in and pull the lever for something different than what they have, which would be, of course, a return to President Trump and walking away from President Biden. So Trump wins in the battleground states 41 to 35. I mean, if you're a Democrat and you're looking at a president whose numbers are in the toilet, you're looking at a president who is losing in the battleground states, you've got to really wonder, about your lineup. And I think they are absolutely, completely panicked at the moment about what will happen. So, yeah, I mean, you look at this and you say, well, how is this all going to play out? This is why I keep saying the power brokers inside the Democrat Party will not allow Joe Biden to become the nominee. Somehow, I don't know how, I can't foresee it, I don't know what the plan is, but somehow they will do everything they can to stop him from running, or at the very least, get rid of Kamala Harris, which is fraught with its own problems. I mean, if you get rid of Kamala Harris, you alienate a lot of important voting constituencies that traditionally vote Democrat. I don't know how you do that and not have a blowback. So it seems to me that the only real solution here is that somebody has to pull Grandpa aside and say, I'm sorry, this is not working. You're going to lose this, and we've got to do something different. I don't think that he's going to be the nominee. I just don't. Now, I don't know how it's all going to play out, but somebody somewhere, and I think it's probably going to be Obama, will pull Biden aside and say, I'm sorry, Joe, it's time for a hard conversation. And then, then Biden can just serve out the rest of this term. He can pardon himself, and he can pardon, his son, Hunter Biden, and then, go off to retirement. And that's probably what I think will happen. And somebody else will pick up the mantle, and somebody else will be nominated by the Democrats, and then we'll have a whole different race. The other thing that you need to know about the coming election is that this situation is rife for a third-party candidate. Joe Manchin is thinking about it, but, he's no spring chicken. He's 72. He's a very spry 72 and a very sharp 72, but he's 72. And I don't know how that would mix things up. Hard to know until more polling would be done. But I'm just, every day that we go forward, I'm more and more convinced. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll own it. But it just doesn't seem like to me, what I know about politics, that Democrats, and boy, are they throwing a lot against the Biden administration right now. I mean, David Ignatius is writing in the Washington Post. The New York Times has got articles going out there. You just heard the waffling that was going on from Democrat Jamie Raskin. I mean, he got asked time and time again about it, and he just couldn't come up with an answer. Nancy Pelosi, not a strong endorsement. So, I mean, everything you look at right now says the real power brokers are very worried right now about Joe, and time tick-tock is running out for the Democrats to make a change. You can't wait too long on this process, which tells me that if something's going to happen, I think it happens between now and November of this year. Got to happen. It is now 20 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Let me tell you about EverSeal. First of all, I need to explain a little bit about what it is in case you don't know. It is a sealant that can be used to permanently seal your exterior wood and concrete. Now, it was used for ages in industrial applications, and the folks at EverSeal figured out how to provide a permanent solution for sealing your wood and concrete at a price that home and business owners can actually afford. They come in, first of all, and they do a deep cleaning to make sure your wood and concrete looks as good as it possibly can. And then they apply their patented sealant, which will absorb all the way through. It doesn't sit on top. It absorbs and becomes part of the wood, becomes part of the concrete, and it will prevent any further deterioration for the next 30 to 50 years. 30 to 50 years. Think about that. I mean, if you seal your deck every year or every other year, think how many times you won't have to do that. Think about the money you will save. Think about the time you will save. Wouldn't it be great to do it one time and forget it and just enjoy that deck, enjoy your exterior concrete spaces, and not have to worry about it at all for 30 to 50 years? I mean, doesn't that sound like a great idea? If it sounds like a great idea to you, why don't you reach out to Steve Nelson and the team at Everseal? Here's the number, 844-EVER-USA. Again, that's 844-EVER-USA. Learn more at ever-seal.com. It's 25 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. We're in the last hour of the week as we prepare to head into our weekend. Let me give you some more news and information you can use as you try to get home, and maybe you walk in to dinner with the fam and you'll wow them with some great story or some little factoid that you heard on the program.
Hey, honey, Brian's going to a fish fry tomorrow.
Well, I am going to a fish fry tomorrow morning. I mean, I can't wait. There's nothing I like better than good fried fish. And I'm going to the Congressman John Rose's his family farm fish fry, which is not easy to say. And it'll be over at the Smith County Ag Center from 11 to 2. So, I'm gonna put on my best fishing shirt. I mean, what does one wear to a fish fry?
Something you don't mind getting grease on. That would be my suggestion.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Since not to divert too far away, since I've lost all this weight, I don't have many clothes.
Wardrobe's thin, huh?
The wardrobe is a little thin right now, and I just found. Being a tall, you have no idea, Chris. You have no idea. And Cabana Wife's about to learn this. When you're a tall individual or a large person, and I'm tall, but and I'm large, but not as large as I was. I'm down some 60 pounds.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm feeling good, and I if you don't mind me saying, I feel like I'm looking good. I've got some vim and vitality. And after a really rough summer where I had some health challenges, I'm just feeling like, man, I'm loaded for bear, but I don't have any clothes. I'm running around half the time around the house naked because I don't have any clothes. And that's not a pretty sight. And so, Cabana wife and I are going out when she's out of town, but she'll be back tomorrow. And when she comes back, we're going to go do some shopping. And she's about to find out how difficult it is to find clothes to fit somebody like me. All my life, like for shoes, for example, I wear a size 14 shoe. I mean, I'm a big boy, and I would have been about 6'8" if they hadn't folded under a few inches at the bottom. And so, I'm telling you, I'm tall and I have big clothes. I don't go into a shoe store and say, hey, I want that in a size 14. That's not the way it works for people like me.
Well, you can say that, but they're going to look at you funny.
But they're going to look at you say, they're going to look at me like a bug in a jar. And they're going to look at me and go, what are you talking about? What you do is you go in and say, what do you have in a size 14? And they'll bring out the ugliest shoes you ever saw.
A box.
a box that's been, a tattered box that's been in the back, for about 12 years. And that's what they'll bring you. If and finding, I went down to Walmart. I said, well, I just got to get a pair of jeans that I can wear because these, my waist has gone from a 52 to a 42. I mean, I can't wear any of the jeans that are hanging in my closet. And so I went to Walmart just to say, just a quick pair of jeans. Nothing in my size.
Wow.
I mean, and so this is the dilemma. And so, Cabana wife says, well, we'll go shopping. We'll get you some stuff. We'll get you all set up. And I said, okay, that's fine. She's about to find out that, it's not easy to, when I worked at Fox, the one thing I will say is they were great because they gave you a wardrobe and they came out and they actually took the measurements and they made the suits to fit you.
Nice.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Cumulus does not do that.
Yeah, I don't think we have a wardrobe budget.
No, they don't have any wardrobe budget here at Super Talk 99.7, although they should. But I am looking forward to the fish fry. I do have now 2 pairs of jeans that I had to order on Amazon because that's the only way I could find the size that would fit. So I won't be buck naked.
Well, I'm sure they'll all appreciate that.
And I will have a shirt that is appropriate. Maybe there will be a fish on it.
Yeah.
I have a fish shirt that might still fit.
There you go. Sounds like a winner.
But I'll look forward to seeing all the folks over there at the Rose Family Farm Fish Fry, and it's at the Smith County Ag Center, and I'm looking forward to it. Who doesn't love good fried fish? I'm looking forward to it. It is now 30 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk. It's 37 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I want to jump into this story. I just want to dip my toe into this story. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But I hold in my hand, I'm not making this up, a 29-page report that is in the Daily Mail. And it has to do with someone who has been named as a potential running mate for Donald Trump, someone who is very visible in Republican circles, someone who is thought of, I think, very highly in Republican circles, and somebody that, you know of this person. You may know of them because you've seen commercials of her as an electrician or a plumber or a welder. I think the welder, that's my favorite one. And, you know, she is, I'm talking about Kristi Noem, who is the governor of South Dakota. And again, someone that Donald Trump has been talked about as picking as a potential running mate. Well, this story, and I look, I don't take any joy in this, but I would say that the Daily Mail has it pretty buttoned up. Here we go. A rising Republican star, tipped by many to be Donald Trump's running mate should he win the presidential nomination, has been involved in a clandestine affair for years, multiple sources tell thedailymail.com. Married South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, age 51, who stresses her belief in family values, and Trump advisor Corey Lewandowski, who is also married, began carrying on in 2019, if not before. Now, news of this relationship threatens to wreck Noem's chances of joining Trump's ticket in a potential rematch with President Joe Biden. The Daily Mail approached both of them and asked them about the affair, and the Daily Mail says neither denied the affair. The governor issued a statement attacking us for the timing of the article. Lewandowski did not respond to a request for comments. Now, they were just seen together Friday last week when Lewandowski traveled with Trump to Rapid City, South Dakota. But the pair, who were made aware of the pending story about their relationship, were careful to make sure there was no public interaction. And so they have photos of that where very awkwardly they tried to ignore one another. So look, she's a very successful governor. She served 4 terms as her state's only representative in the House of Representatives. And she is a rising star within the Republican Party. But this story just landed like a big turd in the middle of all that. And so I don't know what to tell you about it, except that I've done my due diligence by letting you know of it, okay? I got it into the record. Let's move on. Nearly $10 billion generated in Davidson County by tourism in 2022. These economic reports, where they look back and say, how much money did you raise and blah, blah, blah. They're always about a year behind. And so this is the most current numbers that we have. And this is I found this in Channel 4. If it were not for state and local taxes generated by tourism, each Nashville household would pay about $3,500 more in state and local taxes. A record $10 billion in travel spending generated by tourism in Davidson County last year. This was a 35% increase from 2021 when we were still coming out of the pandemic. The report adds that the visitors of Nashville and Davidson County spend an average. Listen to this number. You're going to be shocked. I mean, I'm shocked by this number. Visitors to Nashville and Davidson County spend an average of $27 million a day.
A day?
A day.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that's for, that's not profit. That's just that's how much money is coming out of pocket and going to, various, hotels, motels, bars, Uber riders. I mean, everything you can think of. $27 million a day. Now, I don't care where you're from. That tells me that tourism is an economic engine that must be protected in Nashville at all cost, which also tells me that it was disastrous when Mayor John Cooper shut the city down, wouldn't let restaurants, admit patrons. This silly thing where you have to have tables that were 20 feet apart and all of this nonsense. It destroyed the economy of this town for a year. And it ran a lot of people out of business. So, listen, we are blessed and with regard to having this at Nashville Music City is a strong brand. It really is. And people come here to cut loose and to have fun. I mean, New Orleans has its Bourbon Street, and Austin has its 6th Avenue, and Nashville has Lower Broadway. People come here and they just want to party and have fun. We're getting all kinds of conferences, all kinds of special meetings, company meetings, etc., are all coming to Nashville, and we know how to put on a party. We're a town that knows how to do it right, and so kudos to the people that are doing this. Basically, $409 million in local taxes, which is equivalent to the annual operating budgets of the Metro Nashville Police Department and the Metro Health Department. $612 million go to state taxes out of all of this. So a real vibrant engine for our town, $27 million a day. Let's make sure, Mayor-elect Freddie O'Connell, that we do everything we can to protect and support this. And as I mentioned earlier, I think one of the things you could do that would, make Nashville a more desirable place to come is to clean up the town. Just get rid of the trash. Get rid of the needles on the benches and get rid of the homeless people on every corner and work out those problems. Those are the things you really need to focus on. I know you have all of these progressive pie-in-the-sky ideas, Mayor, that you want to go for, but, we really just need to protect this because it is a real asset. You want to try to run the city without that kind of economic engine, providing tax revenues for you so you can run your city? You want to try that? No, let's make sure we do everything to protect that. Okay, moving on. Bucky's, as you heard in the newscast, has withdrawn its plans to build a location in Clarksville. Bucky's was going to build is right off I-24, exit 1. The company cited infrastructure concerns, according to Channel 4, with moving forward. Bucky's is no longer confident in their ability to come to an agreement regarding the necessary traffic improvements in the near future. I don't understand this. You talk about, things that are an economic engine. Having a couple of Bucky's in our area would be a big, big boon, provide a lot of tax revenue. And by the way, everybody wants a Bucky's. What's wrong with you? Why can't you fix whatever this is? We're talking about some roads, some asphalt, a little engineering. And we have these things called economic development funds in the state. Governor, can you help the folks out here and get this road work done so that they don't have to withdraw the plan? What I'm reading here is Bucky's is sort of sending up a flare. And they're saying, look, we're not getting the answers that we need here. We're coming to your city to make a very big investment that will generate tax revenues, for years and years and years to come. Have you been to a Bucky's? Have you ever seen the kind of business they do? You want this. You don't want to not have it. You want it. I'm all about the development, and I don't have a problem with spending some tax dollars on economic development. But if all it takes is a little road work to get the Bucky's people back in line, then I don't understand why we can't fix this. To the state leaders, to the highway people, to the people up there, and in Clarksville, let's straighten this out. This is an easy fix, and you'll be glad that you did going down the path. I think these things are fixable. What I hear Bucky saying is, sure would be a shame if we had to take our Bucky someplace else. I don't think they want to. I think they said they would revisit it. Well, let's give them the opportunity to revisit it, okay? I just don't understand how it's very small thinking, in my estimation, that to let something like we need some road improvements. How big can they be? Given what you're going to get in return. Think about it. Just saying. We are in the middle of a UAW strike, but, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, which apparently is everything that was once Chrysler, they're all, they're now facing a strike by the United Auto Workers. The good news for us is, so far, the General Motors facility in Spring Hill is not on strike. Not all plants everywhere went on strike, but they're on a day-to-day call. In other words, they're told every day you'll get a call to tell you whether to go to work or not. And so the idea is, the United Auto Workers are trying to put pressure on the big three to come up with an agreement. And if it doesn't work, then they turn up the pressure and they close down another plant. So Spring Hill General Motors plant has 3,777 people, brings in $323.4 million in taxable wages annually. And so let's make sure that we take, back in 2019, there was a picket at the facility, and it got ugly. I mean, there was a member picketing on the bridge just outside the GM plant that was struck and killed after a car hit him. And so they're asking that, if you do go on strike, please keep tempers at a low level, follow safety protocols. It's one thing to go on strike, it's another thing for it to get ugly. And I understand tempers run high in times like this, and I think it'd be good advice to take it easy. 150,000 workers at the General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis are potentially going to be at risk if they go on strike. So let's watch very carefully as the day goes forward and hope that we can avoid a wider strike than we are now. Very quickly, ABC News, people are freaking out because they are now in talks to sell ABC News to mogul Byron Allen. Remember the comedian Byron Allen? He's now apparently a very wealthy guy and owns, I think, the Weather Channel and a bunch of other stuff. And the people at ABC News are freaking out. 51 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. Let me talk about Rhino Shield. Listen, if you're going to paint your house, and it's a time of year where you might want to get it before it gets any colder. Let me just tell you, don't paint your house. I want you to consider Rhino shielding your house. I mean, if you paint your house, my goodness, it will be something. It would last you for a short while, but then it'll do what paint does. It will crack, it will chip, it will peel. And before long, what you're going to have is you're going to have something that needs to be repainted again. But if you Rhino Shield it, well, Rhino Shield is not paint. It's 10 times thicker than paint. It's infused with special 3M ingredients, billions of microspheres that allow the coating to expand and contract. And that's why they offer a 25-year warranty against cracking, chipping, and peeling. Clay Morris and the folks at Rhino Shield of Nashville have a great reputation. Amanda wrote, "My home turned out beautifully. They showed up on time. The crew was very professional and courteous. I had some custom painting that needed to be done. They did an amazing job." Joan said the work was outstanding, quality, top of the line. The guys were personable, had their ducks in a row. So does this sound like something you'd be interested in? Why don't you give Clay Morris a call? Here's the number, 615-474-1729. Again, 615-474-1729. Learn more at rhinoshieldnashville.com.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. I've been teaching investing on Nashville airwaves for over 20 years with the Investor Coaching Show. And in that time, I taught a lot about how markets work and how we invest money and academic principles of investing money. But I've also talked an awful lot about how to avoid the mistakes that people often make with their money. Think about it. A lot of people sold out of the market at the worst time when COVID struck, or when TARPAP and the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or gold, they invested in that at the worst time. Bailing out of the market because they were worried about Y2K or 9/11 or jumping into energy stocks or jumping into cryptocurrency. One of the things that I like to do is educate investors, because I believe that the more educated you are, the more confident you are, and the more confident you are, the more successful you can be as an investor. Now, I not only do that on our radio show, but we do that in our offices around the Nashville region, 10 offices. To learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call, or you can call 615-851-1950.